And we are live. What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Johnny Dunn, and we are back with another one today. Another epic VeVe live stream. Today we just have one drop. It is another comic book blind box drop today. We have issue number 5, the last series ever in the second ever comic book arc on VeVe. Shout out to everyone joining the live stream today. We got Shago in the building, first in the building. Katsumatsu, second in the building, asking me if I'm getting that Mac Gondek airdrop today. Shout out to anyone who did hold on to that Mac Gondek. You know, a couple of his artworks were not doing the best as secondary, so I think it really is going to reward those loyal holders. We're seeing an airdrop coming soon. I will be getting one of them. I held on to the losing control or failure to control, I believe it is. So I'm excited for that. Shout out to everyone else joining the live stream today. I'm going to be going over the details of this comic book drop today. And also, we got an amazing AMA last night from Taps and Rhys, so I'm going to be covering. Wanted to start this live stream a little early today just because it was a long AMA. You know, a couple hours long, I believe, maybe an hour and a half. Not sure the exact time frame, but I think we're going to be able to watch it pre-drop and then a lot of it post-drop as well, too. So many bullish gems in this video to where I think a lot of it went kind of low-key under the radar maybe of a lot of people. So I wanted to make sure I recap this, you know, just kind of have my reaction to it, maybe pause it on a couple things, go over. So real talk, is excited about this. Let's go. Back with my coffee gate today. Felt pretty tired waking up this morning, so wanted to make sure I got some energy for today's live stream. Shout out to everyone else joining the live stream today. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Here we go. Again, these covers look pretty good. I was a fan of all these covers. And a little surpriser that, you know, I don't think I let you guys know, but I ended up picking up all the VeVe exclusive covers of this series. You know, I think it just grew on me. I wasn't going to pick up the ultra rare or the rares of these. I was only going to just stick with my 3-digit commons. I think some of you guys saw that I was picking up the 3-digit commons. But I said, you know what? I love these covers too much. I don't know how valuable these will be in the future, but it's just something that I wanted to collect. Ended up getting the ultra rare, the rare on a lot of these. The only ones I didn't pick up just yet are the ones obviously that dropped today. I did get this secret rare too. Just something went in me to where I was like, you know what? I want to have all these covers. So now my game plan is kind of basically the same as before. You know, I wanted to use these kind of comic book arc series as a way to rent out in the future. So now I kind of just expanded that to where I could rent out maybe all the rare covers to a fan in the future for a week or something like that, have them being able to read all the, you know, stories in this arc. Maybe the ultra rare is what they wanted. Maybe it's a 3-digit common. So I feel like being able to grab all the VeVe exclusives was a pretty solid idea. I think that'll, like I said before, short term, not sure how well that's going to do, but again, I bought it just because I liked it. I think they will start to gain popularity once we can showcase these in our showrooms. Like this cover here, this is one of my favorite covers. It just looks amazing. I wonder one day, too, if we're going to see some kind of animation, maybe like the Stars animate or something like that on some of these covers. I really think the sky's the limit. Now, I'm not too sure if any of these covers will animate in the future, but you never know, right? It looked like when you kind of back out of the marketplace and come back in looking at some of these, looks like some of them could possibly animate in the future. We don't know for sure if it was like a little glitch or what, but started making my mind think, you know what? Maybe that's what's taking so long for maybe some of these comics to be in the showroom. Once we can see comic covers in the showroom, I think the next evolution will maybe to have some comic covers animated. I would love to see that. Maybe the lightning, the rain comes down. I think something like that would look amazing. Shout out to anyone else who was able to grab some of these covers. Again, I'm excited for this cover to drop today. I like this one a lot. I'll probably just stay with the theme. Again, another reason why I picked up these ultra rare and rare exclusive covers is because they were just so cheap. I don't think, especially when the MCP program gets launched, an ultra rare is going to stay under $30. I mean, you're getting 3 Master Collector program points right there for just having one of those ultra rare covers. We have 30,000 total editions for this drop. Again, all of them are pretty much the same. These comic book arcs are growing on me. I haven't even read the story just yet. I kind of want to save that for one day when I'm really, you know, have the time to read them. 21,000 editions for the common, 5,000 editions for the uncommon, 2,350 for the rare, 1,050 for the ultra rare, and 600 for the secret rare today. I was very busy during the AMA. I could use a refresher. Let's go. Shout out Miss Rose. Shout out Tucson. We're definitely going to be getting into it in just a moment. Only 2 for me today. Omi Queen. Which ones are you liking today, Omi Queen? You said you only like 2 of the covers? Let's check them out. Let's check them out again. I wasn't the biggest fan of the secret rare, so I'll probably pass on the secret rare today. I probably will get this ultra rare. I just like the cover of it. The rare, I'll probably pick it up if it's cheap again. I mean, I picked up some of these rares for like 15 or 18 bucks. That's like double the retail price. I have a feeling long term. Now, I didn't get a lot of these for the value of it, for investment purposes. I got it just to kind of collect. But I do think that long term, there's no way a rare will stay only, double what the retail price is. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it only stays there forever, right? We don't really know. But I like a couple of these covers, the ultra rare. And I guess maybe the common. I mean, I do like the rare, but I think the ultra rare is the one for me today. I plan on getting 2 on the drop, hoping for secret rare. Shout out to you, Omi Queen. Wishing you the best. Hopefully you get that secret rare today. Grabbing 2 just to increase your chances. I like the idea of that. It is a high-quality comic book series. I agree with this, Tucson. I think the quality on all these covers were just very impressive for a lot of people. I mean, especially me. I was impressed. How we doing, Luke? We got Punch in the building. Wow, early today. We are early, Punch. I wanted to just kind of go over things real quick so we can get to this Taps Rhys AMA. This is a good one, guys. I mean, I think Rhys dropped a lot of gems. And shout out to Taps for trying to get, every little teaser out of Rhys. It's always great when these two link up. Let's see here. Is it too much to think every NFT in the inventory has been meticulously chosen for future use and supreme value that you can't lose in buying everything? Real talk. I would say almost everything. I would say almost everything is probably strategically rolled out, I would say. There's probably some fillers in there if they couldn't get a collectible ready in time. I'm sure there are. But I would say for the most part, especially with the big brands, they're probably strategically rolled out. The fact that we have Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse in one collectible in a golden moment, we have the entire Disney IP for VeVe. Disney could have easily, I don't know about easily, but Disney could have just said, we're only giving you Pixar. We're only giving you this or that. We have the entire Disney IP being rolled out. That's decades worth of content. They said it in the interview last night. Rhys said it. This is, decades worth of content being strategically rolled out for decades. Decades worth of content. Unbelievable. It's just being digitized. We all know, or at least think, that the world's going digital. I mean, if you believe that the world's not going digital, then maybe this isn't the space for you. Maybe you don't believe in digital collecting. But if you do believe the world's going more digital every single year, maybe digital collecting becomes the norm, becomes a standard. That's kind of what I believe. So I think there's a lot of other people that believe the same thing. Ultra rare, the only cool one. I kind of agree with this K Walker. But again, this is just my opinion. 3 games at MTL on Q2. Let's go. Big things ahead, especially for Omi. I think this is something that, a lot of people are geared up for. Did you hear about the person or company that bought 1 billion in Omi? Yeah. Yesterday I completed all my Mighty sets. Smart move, K Walker. There's still some I have to get. I haven't been able to get all the Mighties, but I think the Mighties will be huge. Having a VeVe exclusive license, especially if there's utility with the Mighties in the games like we all think there will be. I definitely see the Mighties being bigger than most people expect. With all that being said, I think it's about time. Let's dive into the AMA. But first, to get the vibes right.
This is the quick story of how I became a millionaire.
Yeah, you know it. You really on it. Moon boy, Watch them charts start soaring. Let's get into this, guys. Let's go. We got FA Taps hair.
What is going on, Rhys? What is going on, fam? Oh, man. Here we go.
Should I put my hair down?
Back at it again. What is going on?
Let's get this tweeting for you as well. Bring some fam in.
FA Taps long hair.
I'm good. I'm sweaty. I'm hot. Singapore, hot place compared to Canada.
Oh, I bet, man. Well, let me go ahead and introduce. Everyone, welcome. To the Taps Trades channel, where I help keep you up to date with everything Ecomi, VeVe, crypto NFT space. Our exciting guest today is a face we all know, and welcome again, calling in from Singapore. So the shirt is very appropriate, I feel like. Help me in welcoming the man with the mane, the saucy Aussie himself, VeVe Communications Manager, Rhys Skellern.
I'll take that. The saucy Aussie himself. Yeah. Have to say, Taps, I'm happy to see that hair out as well, mate. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I feel like you're always super nomadic, but how is Singapore?
It's sweaty. It's really sweaty. No, it's great though. It's great.
It's hot out there, I guess.
He has a 1-year-old daughter, my little niece, who I just met for the first time, and have been getting to know for the past few days. So it's great to be here. My mum flew in from Australia as well. Yeah, it's just a bit of a family reunion post-COVID, which is pretty good for us.
That's awesome. I've never been, but
Mike's spamming away already.
Man, it's actually 2 weeks away from a year ago where we first had our first AMA. So we're at our 1 year anniversary. So I'm curious, are you going to be getting me a wallet for our 1 year anniversary, or?
Of course, there's a gift in the mail.
Okay, that's the one I want. Yeah.
I feel like Taps deserves a wallet, and I'm gonna show you why real quick. I'm gonna pause it just real quick. I feel like Taps definitely deserves a wallet because he did the interview with Rhys during DCon when this moment happened, and I felt like because he was interviewing, he wasn't able to go and buy the wallet real quick. But you can see on Taps' face, shout out Taps, you definitely know he wanted to buy the wallet really quick. This is what it was.
Did you guys expect that? I did.
Hold on, let me just.
Walt and Mickey are over 6K now. Whoa, did you guys expect that? I did. It's a blue chip, right? Yeah, it's a blue chip. It's the first ever. It's the most iconic Disney piece that it could be. I think we're going to see the Walt up near Tony's and Marvel number one. Hold on, we're ending the stream so I can go buy one right now. Walt and Mickey are
Shout out to Taps, man. That was hilarious when I saw that. Taps deserves a wall.
I love it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a year. What a year. I think I've aged 10 in that amount of time. But so much has changed since we spoke 12 months ago.
Yeah, and I was trying to make a comprehensive list of questions. I'm sure some of the fam will as well, but man, a lot has changed, but I think a lot of what the questions I focus around are kind of, based on where things will continue to change, where they'll continue to go, especially since we've kind of been in this weird little spot lately. So before we get started, there's all those questions that I'm gonna try to do my best to grill you respectively. But before we get started, everyone hit that like button, show support for the channel, for Rhys, appreciate it, and we'll take community questions when we can. I'm gonna get through some of mine, so super chats will take priority. But let's. I was gonna do some quick little lightning round questions, but I think there's a lot of questions, and we'll get into it.
There is a bit of content. You can't start with a lightning round.
I know. We got to start rifling them off, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So,
awesome.
Shout out to the fan.
And I'll try to save some people some money in case they're super chatting some questions already in here. But in terms of agenda, we're gonna be going through some stuff on promo codes and our user base, total size, cash out, MTL.
It's a little slow in the beginning of this interview, but it gets good. It gets going.
KYC, VeVeverse, Metaverse, some very future-looking questions because I think it's really important to know what is coming, and we'll kind of get into there. But the first question I really wanted to touch on, Rhys, is anytime VeVe really starts talking a lot about something, I know it's pretty big, right? Where it's reiterated multiple times. And so the promo codes, when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, I'm not really sure what to think about this, but then I kept hearing it over and over and over mentioned in the AMAs. So physical meets digital is the premise behind these promo codes, right? So, it's been mentioned many times. Can you broaden a bit on what the vision of this, physical meets digital initiative is? Will this be done with, for example, I think a major toy manufacturer was referenced, but will that be done the physical side online, or will it also tie into potentially like big box retail stores?
Yeah, classic David, you mentioning those details. But look, that's definitely the longer term vision of the promo code thing. And I guess just to contextualize that, as you said, when the promo code first rolled out and people are like, oh, okay, whatever, right? It's just an extra box. But that in and of itself is a system that had to be built, right? In terms of being able to actually redeem those codes for an NFT or those kind of things. Now, the shorter term rollout and vision of that is more for digital product redemption. So we're not diving straight into the physical side of things. It's definitely part of the longer term vision and partnerships with these larger manufacturers. But for the immediate future, it will be more of a digital redemption tool. And that really helps to feed into part of the marketing strategy for this year as well, which I'm sure we will get into, at some point in this conversation. So
I could see them doing like, this is long term, but like commercials, maybe on ESPN football games. They have a commercial with a promo code. You enter the promo code, the first 100 people get that digital collectible. That'd be crazy, right? Maybe, they talked about geolocations back in the day. I feel like that could have something to do with it too.
Look, there's not that much I can really reveal without giving away some of those plans that I'm not allowed to give away yet. I did just chat to Dan to confirm what I was allowed to say.
Like, hey, what am I allowed to say to Taps? Because he's going to be asking about all this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of the immediate future there, and really, it just gives us more potential to bring in new users, right, and to leverage the fan bases and the fandoms of these brands, and to offer them a product that they haven't seen before, or to onboard them to the app that they may have not seen as well. So that's kind of the plan there. Obviously, there's a lot of potential with product tie-ins. I know Alex kind of talked about movie tickets at one point, things like that. So we could see redemptions from those types of products. But really, it's leveraging the same way we do with all our product rollouts. It's leveraging the brands and fandoms that we already have established, and using that to bring new eyes to the platform, which obviously benefits everybody.
Awesome. So the long-term vision is potentially having something that is physical in like an actual store, right? So like I think immediately of like HRO, how they had some kind of deal worked out with Walmart through Cartamundi. That's where the vision is, but for now it's going to be leveraging partnerships with those potentially those toy manufacturers, where they're going to be having a digital kind of campaign with VeVe, and then will they be shooting it out on their social as well?
I would, yeah, presumably. I think that's pretty safe to say. Obviously, our core product is in the digital space, right? And so the promo codes, aside from bringing new people to the app, are another way to help these licensors assimilate into the digital space, right? And to leverage their product lines to move into this new era of digital products. So that's really where the focus is to begin.
Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, you guys are talking so much about it that of course I want to ask more about what it is, but I get you can't reveal what the master plan is yet until it's actually in effect. But I guess one other caveat to that is, I guess, how many partners or of those manufacturers are you currently working with? Is it just kind of one right now, or is it multiple?
No, this opens up a lot of potentiality with a lot of our licensors. Okay. We obviously have our marquee partnerships with the Marvels and the Disneys and things like that. But this is a way to do it. For example, we still have the Ron English Rabbit Grin to roll out, and the promo code system had to be in place before things like that went out, right? If we're starting to do some sort of this is a confirmation, but
which means just confirmation,
like drops, there might be some invite code drops, that you need, or you buy the physical and you need the promo code to redeem the NFT. So to be able to marry those two together, this system is necessary. But like most things we roll out, all the licensors watch what we're doing, right? And they watch what the other licensors are doing within the platform. So as soon as they start to see these features work and drive sales or drive that user base to their own product lines, everybody wants a piece of that. So yeah, I think we'll see it across a lot of brands.
Got it. No, that makes sense. So basically, like the goal with it is to broaden the partnership's current and potential new ones, and then bring in more of their base through this kind of cross campaign. So it makes sense to me. So that was like my main. I need more clarification on this, even though I knew you wouldn't give me all the information I wanted, but had to ask. So the next big question that I had was on the user base, right? So on the last AMA, there was like an estimate of around 2.6 million estimate users were mentioned, but we've noticed that the drops have become significantly easier to land, right? We're now getting multiple. It feels like kind of like back in the old days in like summer. So has there been a significant drop in retention of total users since we've had, some negative sentiment lately and some things that have happened? Or has a significant chunk of that 2.6 million were those bots that are now not able to really come out of hiding because of the transfer?
No. So that 2.6 million number that we see, and it might be a bit higher now from what it was previously, is active monthly users. Bot accounts and things like that. So I'm just going to close Discord before it's
Shout out to Alex.
Right, go on.
You always have one though. Like I always hide mine. I don't know how you have your hair down all the time. This is hot. I'm actually chopping it all off. That's why I was like, I guess I could FA my hair for once. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe you're chopping it. But that's fine.
It's time, man. It's time.
Summertime, it does get hot.
No, yeah, sorry. So that 2.6 million number is active monthly users, right? So that's bot accounts. Once they're open, they tend to close straight away, or we close them down, all that kind of thing. So they're not actually counted in that figure. If you were going to go for total user accounts pre the big bot crackdown and things like that, it would probably be close to 3.5 to 4 million accounts.
So that's 2.6 active monthly users still. People want to try to say we don't have that. People want to try to say we actually, because of that whole situation that just happened, they lied. The 2.6 mil is actually not true. It's still true. People just don't want to believe that. So this is what I think is happening. They're probably using a metric that qualifies an active monthly user. Maybe that's just different than what most people anticipate or assume or expect a monthly active user would be. That's why I think there's a miscommunication there with maybe the community. Maybe they don't think a monthly active user is this, but they count a monthly active user as this. So that's probably why the numbers are, maybe some people in the community may not believe it, but I don't think they're lying. This is a team where they're going to be 100% honest. They're going to be transparent like they always have been. So if they said they got 2.6 million monthly active users, they have 2.6 million monthly active users. Maybe that active user is, not what you qualify a monthly active user, but it's what they qualify it as. So it is what it is.
Were opened, or whatever it is, and maybe from that some of the retention had dropped, but in terms of active monthly users and real accounts, that figure is accurate. So I just wanted to really clear that up. Now the competition on the drops, because we've had so much more success recently since disabling gem transfers, since disabling collectible transfers temporarily, and obviously our systems are always being upgraded and learning to really squash this. Just means that there's less competition on the drop, which is why everybody's finally able to land one again, and like happy days. It's been a while since we had that.
But that is crazy to think though. So I mean, if we're at around 2.6 and then estimate 3.5 to 4 million with the bot accounts, and that means that there was a significant amount of bot accounts that were running rampant, I guess, throughout our user base.
Yeah, I should clarify. There wasn't like 1.5 million bot accounts in the system, right? That's kind of total downloads or accounts that are created, most of which, once those bot accounts are closed, are out of the system. It's more just from an active monthly user base. Yeah, we're still sitting over that 2.6 million mark, which is exceptional after a little over 12 months.
So we still have 2.6 monthly active million users.
I remember how excited we were when we hit 60,000. So I mean, it definitely seems like some of that, there was a lot of issues that kind of popped out with obviously the bots. Like everything kind of just all happened at once, right? Like bots and then flagged accounts that were innocent. And I know there was some other issues with, UI and just quite a lot of things all at once. So, I'm definitely curious to see how the growth continues to scale with the new user base. And that's, I'm sure there will be some things coming in with the promo codes and some other things that you guys are probably going to reveal. that will help continue that path that we were on to, 10 million, 20 million potentially by the end of the year?
Absolutely. Like 2021 was a breakout year for VeVe, but it was just a breakout year for NFTs, right?
Facts.
It really became the doorway for people into this industry and the wider crypto industry. So to really be able to capitalize on that growth, which we absolutely did, and still have these insane retention rates and all of that. Now we have the funding, right? Pre-VeVe, we were bootstrapping everything to try and get this product out, and licensing, acquisition fees, and wages, and all of the rest. And now we're frankly in the best possible position we could be, right? We have that kind of more than 12 months now of data in terms of how the app is being used, where the user base, where the user attention is, how we can better utilize that data, as well as now obviously being funded to continue to build the vision, roll out the marketing, and then grow in a more traditional sense than just the kind of hype bubble that formed around the entire industry over the past 12 months, coinciding with the bull as well. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Okay.
Very good point.
So, the big question that, I'm trying to get like the big ones first and make sure they're addressed, but cash out, right? So cash out, MTL, the money transfer license. Alex G mentioned and I know he's in here, so he's like, wait, did I say that? Alex mentioned in the last AMA that MTL is happening in Q2, which, we have about 2.5 more months left. So does that mean it will roll out of beta to more users by the end of Q2, or that everyone should have access to MTL by the end of the quarter?
So I did just get clarification on this, so I didn't misspeak. And maybe we start with the rollout first. So most people should be aware by now that the web platform has to come first. And that's going to be huge. As soon as that's live, the pay-in features will be live as well. So people will be able to purchase gems and things through that. As soon as the KYC rolls out as part of that. So it'll be web platform, KYC integration, and then the cash out. But no, the expectation is by the end of
web platform, KYC, cash out. 3 things that are going to be major. We need that web app, we need that KYC, and we need the MTL cash out. That's going to be big time. Once that happens, that's the very start of a lot of these catalysts. Then once we have that web app, I'm sure the next thing will be OMI to NFT. People are going to be able to convert on the web app, on the website, their ETH to OMI, then go shopping. It's just going to be that easy.
Q2 that all users should have access to pay in and pay out and the KYC and all of that. Yeah, huge integration. Now, obviously, as all parts
shout out to Taps and his perfect locks.
The story seem to go. There's always things that have come up, like the New Zealand crackdown on digital assets, or not even digital assets. The crackdown has been on money laundering, right? And they've put a line in the sand to say that we want to be the toughest country or take the toughest stance on this kind of thing, which affects all downstream businesses, ourselves included, because we obviously deal with financial transactions. So this rollout had to be put in place for that. So the current beta testing we have paused, right, in term, because it's unnecessary now until the web platform and the KYC integrations are in. But we've tested it, right? So all the infrastructure is built. It's kind of ready to go. So at that point, once those first integrations roll out,
and that right there is a huge part. I think that part is what a lot of the community has missed right there. The beta cash out MTL has been paused until we have the web app, until the KYC, just because there was a new, like you just talked about, how there's new regulations that got put in place. So they know that MTL was working good, but they just paused it, wait until the web app, and then the KYC, and then everybody's going to get the MTL.
To have access by the end of the quarter.
Got it. So since the betas are now, I guess, paused, and so you said it's going to be desktop version, and then KYC, and then MTL, and will it just be everyone open your VeVe, you now can cash out, or will it just be like, I guess, 1 week, 1 million got it, and the next week another million get it, or will it just be like a flip of a switch?
I think I would like to assume we'll probably still step it, but I think by that point we're confident that it won't be like 10 users, then 10, then 10. It'll be quite a large size of user base to come in, and then by the end of the quarter it should be open to everybody. Yeah, as provided they pass KYC.
Right, and you spoke about KYC, that was on here as well. So there was mention of, like you just said, the big anti-money laundering crackdown from New Zealand. So VeVe will soon have to KYC. I know there's like, I think there's more happiness versus not happy about it, but you know, it's been an ask for a long time. So my question is it going to create some hindrance that was spoken about kind of in the early days about why VeVe didn't KYC and for new users, right? Like it's an added step, or will it kind of help the business scale faster because it's now a safer environment where you're able to actively not have as many bots and people who are able to, like, you know, steal your collectibles or go off app?
I think the second one.
I think you've nailed it there, right? Now, look, initially, we may lose some users that are solely crypto and just hate the KYC concept and all of that. But regulation is coming. Regulation is coming to this industry whether people want it or not. And it's not just coming to NFTs, it's coming to crypto in general.
Regulation is going to happen. We're in the wild, wild west of NFT space right now. The same way when digital music streaming happened and we went from physical CDs to digital music streaming, what happened? Napster popped up, LimeWire popped up, a whole bunch of, you know, there's digital music, wild, wild west sites that had some good songs and didn't even just have songs. They had videos, they had everything, right? So what happened after that was the wild, wild west era. That got regulated. That got eventually transitioned into premium licensed digital music collections from Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. You got Pandora out there. I believe the same thing will happen to this whole NFT space. Went from physical collectibles to the whole digital collectible NFT wild, wild west space on the open sea where you got some good stuff. And then you got a little bit of absolutely everything, right? Once that gets regulated, I believe it'll get transitioned into premium licensed digital collectibles from apps like VeVe. VeVe, I believe, is the Apple Music. It's the Spotify. It's the iTunes of this entire space. Digital music streaming is just the normal now. It just seems like obvious, you know. It seems like common sense, the standard. Digital collecting will be that same obvious transition, I believe.
General. So really, for us, this is future-proofing the business, you know, and obviously we're improving the user experience within that because it does prevent those scam accounts and makes it a much safer environment for the mainstream audience, which has always been our target. But look, personally, I won't be surprised to see OpenSea implement some sort of KYC in the next year or two. I think most companies that operate in this space will have to, or they will just face too much regulatory scrutiny. So yeah, for us, this was more about being proactive. And we have to roll the KYC portion out before we can have payout anyway, right? That's just very clear. But it's more about future-proofing the business and creating a much more sustainable system on that front as well. And for all of us, right? If we don't meet these regulatory requirements, then we don't have a business, and that's the end of the story, right? So it's a non-negotiable at this point, and I think we'll see it across the industry.
Yep. Yeah, that was, and I think with what you mentioned with OpenSea, I mean, it's going to have to happen, right? This is driving me nuts. Because I was actually speaking with my CPA, and she was like, "Do you have NFTs?" And I was like, "Yes." And then she's like, "Well, you might want to claim them now because eventually, rolling down the line, it's going to be, you know, you're going to be authenticated as who you are, and they're going to audit trail, right?" So I think they're mostly going after like the big whales, right? But that's the way things are moving, right? Everyone wants to be able to track and know where your money's going, where your profits are coming from. So yeah, I think that
we're seeing it in other projects where to get a whitelist spot, you have to KYC to some basic degree and docs your address to be able to join that whitelist, right? Like, we're not the only ones that are seeing the future of this and taking steps to future proof. Yeah, it's a prevalent thing, and it will be more so in the future.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks for clarifying that. The one other thing you mentioned on the last AMA was buybacks, right? There's been a whole lot of FUD and, you know, not even FUD, just people saying it doesn't matter that OMI is burning at the rate that it's burning because it doesn't matter if there's no buybacks, it doesn't matter if there's utility. But you did say that there are discussions with higher powers that will, that it's still on the table, but that's, you know, already news that we have. But the question that I have is, you also said something around how the OMI token is designed to support other platforms. Now, are you referring to the ability to use OMI just in other marketplaces like Immutable X or Token Trove, or were you referring to something bigger like OMI in broader other NFT projects or metaverses? I guess, can you clarify a bit more into that?
Yeah. Both, really, right? I mean, OMI is already available on the IMX marketplace. I think Token Trove, I'm not sure if they've added it yet, but they did sort of mention something on Twitter last week. But really, and I think I mentioned this at the same time, that we're looking at reshaping the system that we have to use what we have to better effect to support other platforms like games, or, you know, to be used in the VeVe-verse and tie it all back into our system. So I think we've confirmed in an AMA, I hope we have, because I'm about to anyway, that there's now 3 games that I'm aware of that will start to utilize the OMI token in some capacity.
Huge.
That are external to what we're doing, but we're tying them back into our system.
3 games.
So,
Have we heard that?
I heard
Yeah, I heard one.
I've got a game. So, you know, that those things are coming, and they're part of the longer term.
Just in case if anybody's unsure what they just said, games are coming. There's 3 games that are going to be using the OMI token. And you guys know the clips I've been showing you guys that Al Khan's been talking about gameplay. Gameplay is their whole, they know where this space is going. They know gameplay is going to be huge with these NFTs. They've talked about it nonstop. Let me see if I can find the right one here.
What kids are going to go for and ability once they sell that visual pieces out. Bottom line story here is that we're looking at what I believe is the next extraordinary wave of what kids are going to go for and collectors. We're going to be working with every fandom in the country. Everything that's popular. We have a deal with the World Surfing League. We're working on exports now. I met with exports, the teams. So working on Fortnite, working on all the different things that we know people are crazy about. We're going to drive them to not only participate in those things, which helps us, why people want to deal with us. Because met with Disney, and we're going to be promoting Disney's new movies on.
I want to find the part about gameplay. They talked about how they know the people from Fortnite. You don't think that's going to be integrated?
The story here is that we're looking at what I believe of art. The original things that are built specifically for a co-op. So, for instance, with Warner Brothers, we're making a deal for every prop that's in Harry Potter.
I want to find the gameplay one.
And when your kids go and look at the Disney ad on a co-mine, we send them a free digital.
If I can't find on this one, I can't find it. But you guys heard it before. I mean, Al Khan's talked about gameplay and NFTs. It's going to be integrated. It's not here yet. This is a blessing part of being early. You know, it's either you're early to something and you get the benefits of being early to something that's going to be major. There's obviously going to be some cons along the way to it. Or you join too late and everything's already built. Everything's already perfect. There are no cons with the development, but you don't have any of the benefits of being early anymore. I'd rather be early.
It's not so much a roadmap, but definitely part of the vision for expansion of the token, right? And in utilizing it in more places. So if we can make it more available as a payment token, like in marketplaces on IMX, as well as an in-game token in other games, because it fundamentally, I mean, the OMI token is now out and public and available. Anybody can use it if they want to and build. Now, this is in no way confirmation, but I would love to eventually set up some sort of almost like a grants program so that we can encourage and foster the growth and use of the token.
That's huge.
In other platforms and other games as well, because we're not limited to just using OMI. The token is now out and public and available. Anybody can use it if they want to and build.
Anybody can build games using the OMI token
this
now.
Is in no way confirmation, but I would love to eventually set up some sort of almost like a grants program so that we can encourage and foster the growth and use of the token in other platforms and other games as well, because we're not limited to just using OMI within VeVe, right? There is so much more potential for the token that we can build in, and in doing so, tie it back into our tokenomic system and benefit everybody in the ecosystem.
Okay, yeah, so excited. I never heard the 3 games thing. I've heard of like 1 and like speculation around 2. The grants program is awesome to hear too. I got to put the hair up. You're getting me hot and bothered now. So when you say 3 games, do you mean like mobile games games? Do you mean specifically NFT, like play to earn games?
Hair does get
Games
hot on there.
VeVe specific.
No, these are external to VeVe that I'm talking of. So these are like completely separate games that will utilize the token. One of them will be play to earn that I'm aware of. The other two I probably can't reveal anything.
Play to earn. Let's go.
The one is play to earn.
Correct.
Let's go.
There's play to earn, right? You know, it's like I know that everyone Axie is probably the poster child of play to earn gaming at the moment.
At the moment,
to be honest, I'm not entirely up to speed as to how all of their mechanics work. But obviously, people are seeing that example and really starting to understand how they can build those systems into their own games and use that to attract a user base, because we live in a world of incentive. That you know, to really cut through the noise, that those incentives have to be strong enough, and using the OMI token as that is definitely something I'm pushing for in as many places as we can get it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, right away, my brain's going, right? So I'm like, play to earn, OMI, more ways for utility, more ways to burn OMI, more incentive. I mean, if I can earn OMI by, I don't know, playing some kind of or just by their NFT game, right? I mean, that's pretty big incentive and pretty exciting, because when we think about OMI right now, again, we think about the fact that it still needs its utility. It's tied to an NFT marketplace and NFT platform. We know it'll eventually be recognized as a metaverse token, but now it can actually, well, eventually be recognized as also play to earn token. We know how big play to earns have taken off. So I know you've never heard this before, but when will we see the first for a couple of games?
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping to have the first one out. I hate putting timelines to things, and I can't say soon. In the next few weeks.
Let's go.
Alex
Now again, things could get delayed a few weeks, maybe a couple months, but you know it's around the corner. You know it's going to be soon. You know it's going to be in a little bit.
I mean, if I drop it soon. So.
That's probably a Thor chili announcement, though.
Yeah. Look, it's exciting for anyone who holds the token, right? I know everyone has always bought this to use it within VeVe, and those features, I'm sure we can kind of touch on soon anywhere with OUP, are only getting stronger by the day. But having more
lift off
places to use those tokens, whether it is to buy your HRO cards on a mutable or those kind of things, is definitely part of the longer term vision and roadmap for the token. And you know, I have to send so many props to Immutable and the entire Immutable fam that is growing from this and making those tokens interoperable on all these marketplaces. I mean, it's only going to benefit everybody in this ecosystem and on the protocol too. So it's that's exciting for me to see as well.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see how fast Immutable X is building out their ecosystem. And when you look at the full ecosystem of Immutable X,
wait till Immutable X.
it's primarily a gamers, you know, like they have a lot of different types of games. Obviously, NFTs and different things are being built into it. But when you look at some of the transaction volume and you look at just how much spotlight it's had versus, you know, the number one Matic Polygon, they're really starting to build out really, really fast, and they're aligned with some really, really big names, right? Like obviously Nike bought Artifact, and Disney is in there. Tom Billy's Impact Theory. Like there's so many, Illuvium. There's so many in there that are building a lot of awareness, and that's just going to reflect on Immutable X. And hopefully, the project will have the most NFTs in their marketplace soon. Sorry, I said the word. Can't say it. Eventually. Yeah, so
we've been waiting since May.
Let's go. Is on the
shout out Pineapple Gang one time.
Interactive with animation, right? So there's been long awaited anticipation for DeLoreans to become drivable, and we've already seen the James Bond car was drivable. The James Bond car was drivable. Will we see other past collectibles turn on or become animated this year? Of course, we want animated in AR, but I guess the second question to that is, will all VeVe collectibles be interactive and placeable in the VeVeverse?
I wouldn't say that they'll all be interactive. I think we'll still continue to have similar releases where there might be like a lower price static model and then the sort of higher tier interactive ones. As to whether they'll be drivable, for example, as the cars, licensor dependent, model dependent, right? It depends on how they're built or how the licensor wants these things to be built. But we definitely go back and make some retroactive upgrades, right? We have confirmed that the DeLorean interactive models will have that controllability. I think I just saw this morning that the Ecto 1 has had an upgrade. The lights are now improved on the roof of the Ecto 1, the light bar on Kit, the Knight Rider car, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's really part of adding utility to these collectibles that we want to make them as fun and interactive as we can, so that you can do things with them. Right? That is one of the main value propositions of a digital product over a physical collectible. Right? Instead of just leaving it on a shelf to be dusty and wait 20 years for it to accrue value, it maintains
My comic books collect a lot of dust down here.
the same value, and you can have fun. Right. So we're always looking for those kind of integrations and interactions. As to which ones, how many, when, if they'll all be, there's surprises that Alex will punch me in the face for.
It's okay. I think Alex hopped off. Just go ahead and tell us your closest 500 friends.
So yeah, there's definitely more coming. In terms of if they'll be that way in the VeVe-verse, we'll have to wait. Until that comes out. I mean, anything that has that interactivity or controllability within the app, I think would be safe to assume it's not going to revert to a static state in the future.
I think what he's saying there is that possibly some static stuff could turn, animated, movable, dynamic in the VeVe-verse. Now, I'm not saying every static thing will do that, but I think that's what he's hinting at here. If it's interactive and drivable on the app, it's probably safe to assume that's going to be like that in the VeVe-verse. It's not going to then become static in the VeVe-verse. I think some static stuff could have surprises. Like we all think the Catwoman safe could open. I think stuff like that could eventually open once we get to the VeVe-verse.
Or a matter of,
if that happens, I'm clipping this.
How can we use those features to better effect, to augment that experience too?
Got it. Well, speaking of the VeVe-verse, thanks for bringing it up there, Rhys. The first iteration is still scheduled for this year, right? Like it was supposed to come in 2021, but there's so many different things that we needed, obviously, to happen before that came. I see you nodding. So scheduled for this year still?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do laugh when I see that on Twitter. There's no way they'll deliver it this year. Yeah, it's already in the works.
It's like every other video where if I mention it, someone's like, it's not coming out till 2050. And I'm like, I mean, sure, okay. Yeah, so, but I did just have to preface it, right? Like that it's slotted for this year. It's not pushing out to 2023.
And I might just preface that quickly. It's not going to be Ready Player One from day one. Just in case people are expecting that, and we've kind of said this, the first iteration really will be more of an expansion on your digital space, right? And your home, and being able to customize your home and that kind of thing, visit your friends' showrooms, that sort of thing first, and then we expand. That's
kind of how I expected it. Everybody wants the VeVe-verse to be Ready Player One from day one. I think that's their end goal. That will be the vision long term, maybe a few years from now, with the help of Disney, studios helping them make something, supreme, premium. But until we get there, it's going to be small iterations over time, I think. Like right now, I can only go in my showroom. I can only visit your showroom. And it's not even like that smooth experience. You can only post it and then I can look at it. I think at first we'll probably be able to look at everybody's showroom from their profile. And then, for example, I could probably go into, let's use Mike Olin, because he's the last person that just commented. I can go into Mike's showroom. I'll probably be able to be like, I could pick my avatar maybe, go in there with him, experience his showroom. Maybe I could bring him into my showroom, walk around it together, interact different things, play with different collectibles. Eventually, maybe they drop a TV in our showrooms. Then we start being able to watch these AMA videos in our showrooms. Maybe they do announcements from there, but I think it'll be like a work in progress to get there.
The ecosystem.
Right. There's
like multiplayer in each other's showrooms instead of like a single person type thing.
Phases and rolled out, but I'm really curious, how is
Mike just said, don't touch my stuff. I'm going to mess up your entire showroom, Mike. You got to reorganize everything.
How is the VeVe-verse going to roll out or launch, right? So this is a big deal, right? To have VeVe, who's been talking about this for quite some time, but it's still not recognized as a metaverse token at all from the greater space. And so, will it be like hey, VeVeVerse is up, everyone go log in, or will it be this massive collaborative launch with partners involved towards the end of this year?
I don't think the first rollouts will sort of be a co-marketed, co-partnered kind of thing. Aside from the fact that you have so many licensed partners and trying to integrate all of them all at once would be quite the challenge. Because of the way that the first iteration is designed to be more of an expansion of that digital space. No, I think it'll be more open to our community just to say, like, yep, this product's ready to test. I'm sure we'll roll out a bit of a testing phase as we tend to do anyway, before that rolls out.
Like, imagine finding VeVe when the VeVeVerse is here years later. Everything's perfect, solidified. There's no testing periods. It's all organized. It'll be good because there's no, like, hiccups, etc. But it'll be no room for opportunity. This is before it becomes obvious to the world. We see glimpses of things that may seem obvious to some of us, but I truly believe that it's better to be here way early than way late. Imagine finding out when Disney tweets about how amazing the VeVeVerse is, right? And you could get the first Disney NFTs that dropped a couple years ago. Or you could be here now and kind of deal and understand that there's going to be pros and cons. It's not going to be a straight perfect, ride. There's going to be ups and downs. That's part of being early, but
and becomes live. So
I truly believe once it's perfect and it's solidified, that's when we have Disney marketing us. That's when we have Universal marketing us. Right now, there's no real sense of bringing in millions of people if it's not just perfect yet.
Yeah, that's. I can't really say too much more about that until we get closer to it. I know we're quite scant on details there. But personally, what I would like to see as the VeVeVerse evolves, individual or separate from VeVe as its kind of own spin-off is to create a more interoperable metaverse, in the same way that a lot of other projects are leaning, because we've always maintained that is the future of this industry, and it gives us a lot more potential for those interactions, for people to enjoy other NFTs potentially and sort of bring that into their digital home, and in the same way that you see projects now where they do have that digital display room similar to our showrooms. So that's my longer term vision for the VeVeVerse as well, to kind of create that space for people.
Right, but in order for that to happen, we do need that first stage of interoperability to happen with Immutable X Marketplace, and then for them to then also push out to Token Trove, and they keep coming out with integrations. I know that they are working, or they've been working on the integration with OpenSea. Fingers crossed for Coinbase NFT Marketplace, soon coming, hopefully. But you did say that is not happening in Q2. Does that mean it's happening in Q3?
I'm not going to confirm that. I'm not.
Let's look at his face one more time.
Been working on the integration with OpenSea. Fingers crossed for Coinbase NFT Marketplace, soon coming, hopefully. But
he wanted to smile.
That is not happening in Q2. Does that mean it's happening in Q3?
I'm not going to confirm that.
Some of Rhys's mannerisms are hilarious. I love it. Shout out to Taps for trying to get everything out of him. I know David and Dan are probably watching this right now. I'm sure Dan's already watched it. Dan's probably watching it again, like, oh my gosh, Rhys, don't say it.
No way, I might caught the flag for that one. Yeah, we'll see what
it's hilarious.
Look, our biggest development priority. Yeah, it's fair. I'd try it too, but our biggest priority right now on the platform, KYC.
That's great.
And then OMI features and utilities. We're not naive to the fact that we owe the community quite a lot of these features. And for
11 minutes to the drop. I forgot about the 30-minute warning today.
Pushed out. But they're our priorities at the moment, to really deliver on the things that we should be delivering on, and then opening up that interoperability and adding features on top.
Got it. Okay. In the terms of the metaverse, it seems like, we've gone through our different phases, but the metaverse is definitely not something that's going away. There's a lot of excitement. Largest investors are very much talking about it. They've been talking about it, but it seems like every week a major company is announcing that they have plans for the metaverse, with Microsoft, Facebook, Disney, even appointing a chief metaverse officer. I
truly believe that having a metaverse for your company or business, or having an NFT for your company or business, is almost as similar to having a website for your business or company in the late 1990s. I believe it's the same exact thing.
Which is That's a title I hope to have one day. Really, really cool. But how much of an effect will this have on VeVe Collectibles and Omi when it becomes a reality, right? Because it's going to be so competitive, forward-looking that, VeVe just now launching a metaverse at the end of the year. How are you guys going to really compete with these big companies
10 minutes.
and also the standards like Sandbox and Decentraland?
I don't really see it as competition at this point. We're all very early in the piece, right? So I think we're very much in this stage of, all ships rise with the tide.
I agree.
But really, if the metaverse thesis evolves the way that most of us think it's going to, and does become this kind of interoperable, move your assets from one to another, or your character experience and that kind of thing, then I think that all metaverses benefit all metaverses, theoretically, right? I mean, it's the same. It's not like you play one game now and you stick to one game on PC on Microsoft, and then that's it. You hate playing everything else. If I can now take these characters or items I love and move them to another metaverse and enjoy different gaming experiences there, I mean, that is the metaverse, right? On a micro scale, we have our own metaverse, but the metaverse kind of just continues to balloon out and create these experiences. I think I saw Discord is moving into the metaverse as well. They had portals and communication things there. Like,
the metaverse has already been here. Like right now, everybody who's watching, we're in the YouTube metaverse right now. When we're on Twitter, we're in the Twitter metaverse. On Instagram metaverse. That's all it is. It's just that experience inside. It's just 2D right now. What everyone's trying to do is become that immersive layer to it, that virtual reality, augmented reality, where you get immersive with it. That becomes a whole nother layer. So it feels like you're talking to, maybe we're having this in, virtual reality. So it feels like I'm in the same room as Rhys and Taps talking to him type environment.
all of those features only stand to benefit metaverse builders, right? Because you're given more options and more tools. And then as a consumer, you're given more options and more availability, right? So our value proposition there is the same that it is with VeVe. We have the licensed content. So we have a point of difference in terms of what we're building. And we can offer that to fans and collectors. Now, another metaverse might have a specific gaming apparatus that you particularly enjoy or something similar, and you'd go there for that, but you'd come to ours for experience A, B, and C. So look, I don't personally see that as competition. I think if anything, it will continue to propel this industry forward because we are just living more digital lives these days. And we're only, I don't know what the penetration of the internet is globally, but I think it's still only at 60, 65%, something like that. So it's not even just the current users of digital technology. I mean, then you niche down further into crypto and NFTs and metaverse, right? But eventually I would expect that to be all encompassing, even from the point of websites, right? Like a website right now is a 2D website.
Yep.
Whereas soon you'll send somebody your address in the metaverse and they'll port to your shop, right? That is another metaverse use, right?
Amazon's going to have it.
That technology. So I don't think there's enough companies in the world to really take complete market share from it.
All right, we got a fodder in the building. Let me take care of this guy real quick. I should put him in timeout. I just put him in timeout. Sometimes, you got to have that happen. Sometimes people boot 'em. You guys are hilarious. That happens. Sometimes people are in such denial to where they'll say they hate something so much, but spend their entire time to come on a live stream to spend their time just spamming. Let's get back to business.
I think that it will all benefit each other. Yeah.
Got it. And speaking about competitors in market share, we've seen a lot more pop up in specifically the digital collectible space, right? So over the past year, we've seen a lot come from, like, good and bad things come from Recur, HRO, Wax, Quid, TVK, Epic, HoloLoot. I mean, it guaranteed there's going to be more and more coming, right? It's a lucrative space, it's a hot space, and people want a chunk of it, right? So what's VeVe's plan to stay unique
6 minutes
and keep that market share as the space gets more popular?
Yeah, I mean, obviously from a licensing point of view, and not just the brands that we have that set us apart at the moment, but the products we create. And we've always maintained that premium nature of our products, and that really shows in terms of these beautiful 3D models and the interactivity and those kind of things. So I don't see that changing frankly. Right? I think that we will always kind of maintain that premier status, and obviously having that first mover advantage has definitely given us an advantage. Look, I think these licensing companies will branch out into other product types, right, and across other platforms. That's how they make money, and I think that's the same as the metaverse conversation. I really think it's so early in the piece that everyone is going to stand to benefit from these things.
It's so early that people are still questioning if digital collecting is a fad. Think about that. People were questioning if digital music streaming was a fad. See, my alarm went off though, but my notifications won't. Interesting. But 5 minutes left of the drop.
And you know, we're seeing these new companies go through the same growing pains that we went through, right? And will continue to as they puzzle out their own systems and those kind of things. So I just don't think we're at a point of cutthroat competition yet, and I don't see that. I don't see that really impacting anyone too negatively for at least the next couple of years, really.
Right. I mean, to your point, you said, you know, that there's only so much, I guess, space. Like, it's still very much a small space of, well, no, so you said like 66% of internet users or whatever, but when you actually bake that down too, there's, I think, around 10% of total world population owns some kind of crypto.
That's crazy.
And it's usually like not a lot, right? Like, it's not a big part of their investment strategy. And then when you go another layer deeper and you look at who holds NFTs,
So
it's
much
even
smaller.
less than that, right? So the space, to me, I mean, like, I'm invested in some of those other projects too. So, you know, I support VeVe, support some of those other ones, but I think, again, until that market share actually becomes something that's like really, really significant, it's not everyone crawling all over each other to try and, you know, retain as much. It's more like we need to get as much awareness as possible to gain some of that incoming flow of new users.
And what he's talking about right here is what I talk about all the time. Shout out to Taps for bringing this up, because I think a lot of people need to hear this again. You know, I always say all the time, like, this is why I root for all these other projects to win, because it's so early to where I want as many people to get into digital collecting as possible, because I believe everybody's a fan of something, and VeVe will have something for everybody. So I want as many people to pile into digital collecting, to understand it, to grasp the concept, to get into whatever projects you like. Maybe that's multiple projects, maybe that's just one project, to each his own. But I want as many people to understand, to grasp the concept, to get into and enjoy digital collecting. That's why I root for every project to win right now. But see, I think a lot of times people just paint that narrative of me of, oh, he's only on VeVe because he's all in. And again, that just comes from a lack of education. Because if anybody really did their research, they would know I've been saying VeVe's, you know, the future, VeVe's the best, the biggest, before I even put $1 into VeVe. So talk about an unbiased opinion. It's just what I believe. You know, if anyone else believes other things, that's okay too, you know?
Users and new people interested in NFTs.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and see it with a very narrow viewpoint. But like, literally everything we use, everything in your room behind you, everything around us, everything we use every day is going to be digitized. So we're not limited to this kind of small space on a shelf in Walmart or something like that. We're talking like
2-minute warning.
Every single item you've ever picked up or used.
We're going to stop right here. We got the drop coming back. Let's go. Sorry for spam, but good luck, Johnny. Trump's back. Hey, you don't have to spam my man. You can just say things once and I'll bring it up. Hey, man, I'm putting you on timeout again. There's no reason to spam, brother. Any news on the airdrops? We don't know just yet, dudes. I'm not going to record this because I feel like the drops haven't been selling out in a second. So I do think that everybody's probably going to be able to get this drop. I'm still going to keep the same ritual, though. Minute left. Shout out to my coffee gators. Man's building a wall of comments. Let's go. Good luck, everybody. Punch. Just one. You know, I will record just in case anything crazy happens. I'm gonna treat it like a normal drop here, like a drop the last couple weeks. Because these you don't have to be split on the money to get. And since a lot of these are going under retail, you know, I may not even. If I was doing this drop not on live stream, I probably would just pick this up under retail. But for the drop purposes, for the surprise purposes, I'm gonna go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Bye now. For the drop suspense on the live stream, I'm going to go for it today, guys. I went for them every single day this week. Again, I would probably just pick this up in the market for under retail. I'm only going to go for one. But for you guys, I'm going for it. Make the drop a little bit suspenseful. Let's go. You feeling a 3-digit? Come on, I got all high mint comments. Let's go. All right, 11,423. That feels like an ultra rare number. That's a rarity I want. Let's see if it saves me a couple dollars. Wow, so the buy now sold out. Wow, I like the fact that it's still selling out, you know, pretty quickly. That shows me that we do have a huge audience. Because I remember when Marvel Comics #1 wouldn't even have sold out just yet. Everybody got a dub, right? Only grabbed only one lotto ticket today. Yeah, same here, chasing. Miss Rose got a dub. Just won and sold out. Looks like everybody got one. But the chance of hitting that ultra rare secret rare. Scarface got a dub. Mike, you got a L? I was gonna say. He's just kidding. James got 4. Did anybody beat 4? Did anybody try to get as many as you could? Oh, this is a good one. 1948. Good mint number. Oh, McQueen got 2 of them. Let's go. Wow, so Shooter, the legend, got 5 of them. Punch got 4. I bought 4. Gambling addiction. Yeah, Jeremy Wild. I feel like once you start buying them, you're definitely gambling. Kind of gambling, even if you just go for one. Again, the drop's not as exciting to me because I know everybody got to get it. But it's still definitely it's still fun trying to go for it. Omi Queen got 2 of them. Shooter got 5. This one's insane. I don't think I've seen anybody get 5 just yet on the live stream. Let's go. See, Rios got 5. Good to see people are getting captures. December got a comment already delivered? No way. December got 3 of them. Wow, I got mine delivered too. And I got the ultra rare. What? What? Oh my gosh. People won't believe this today. Talkgate. Talkgate, the ultra rare. Let's go. What? December told me that they already got theirs delivered, and I was like, no way. I'm gonna check mine. I've been recording this whole time. This is gonna be a long video again by accident. But wow. Talkgate confirmed. This is like the 3rd or 5th time that's happened where I've talked to it. I was like, secret rare, secret rare, secret rare, or ultra rare Mickey, ultra rare Mickey, ultra rare. Ultra rare comic. That's the one I want. I said an 11,000 mint number. It looks like an ultra rare. Oh my gosh. Something crazy happened after all. Miss Rose, tell me this is not a simulation that's happening right now. Like, what? Let me just record it in case something crazy happens. Like, if I said this stuff and I didn't record it, didn't have it live, nobody would believe me. But I swear, that's how my life goes. Trump said, who asked? Trump, you're back from the timeout twice. 3 times now. And you're fudded? I'm just kidding. I don't care what you say, my man, as long as you don't spam the chat, really. You know, keep it respectful. Just don't spam the chat. 100% is simulation, Miss Rose. We cracked the code. I think they had the VeVe gods had to have known I was collecting all the VeVe exclusive all of a sudden. Just the other day, I decided to kind of change my philosophy, and I went back and I grabbed all the ultra rare and the rare exclusives. We definitely found the glitch. I can't believe this. Shooter, best cover. I agree. Anybody else get theirs delivered already? Shout out to December because I would have never known. Riley Pie got one. I thought not to pay for the third one, exited and tried to hit buy now again and bought it. That's hilarious. I still have a hangover from buying 4 Tobys. I won't buy more than one thing for a while. Yeah, Rich buddy. I feel like sometimes you can kind of guess about which ones are probably the better ones to maybe max out. I feel like oftentimes the ones that you can get multiples on may not be the most valuable right away. Usually it takes a little bit of time. Like even the Marvel Comics #1. You know, that took minutes to sell out. And even when it did finally sell out, the secondary market was $2. So even stuff like that sometimes can take a little bit of time. I was going to buy this one in the market. Dub City on Good Friday. W, the best VeVe YouTuber, VeVe. Let's go. You know, I think we're all great YouTubers. You know, everybody in the VeVe fam making content. I consider everybody amazing. You know, shout out to all the VeVe YouTubers out there because everybody has their own role, right? Everybody has their niche. Everybody has what makes them great. And the combination of everybody makes this community, you know, just thrive. And you have to realize that there's competition. There's the biggest companies in the world that are watching you guys right now, that are watching me, watching all the other content creators out there. They can't believe what's happening right now. This is literally history in the making. So, you know, everybody plays a role. I don't want to just say I'm the best or whatever the case is. I appreciate you big time. Trump. I don't even want to say the name too loud on YouTube. You never know. This video probably won't get as many views. But I just want to say I appreciate that. But I just want to let you guys know I consider everybody who makes VeVe content the greatest because it takes the whole community to make what's happening right now. It doesn't just take me. It takes literally the whole entire community. So, and you guys are a huge part of it. So, you know, everybody who supports the content creators out there, you make this go around too. So we're all part of history, guys. This is literally an amazing, amazing time right now. I haven't played it yet, Riley. I know a lot of people have been gearing up. I probably should have a while back, but I haven't yet. That's wild. You got ultra rare. It is crazy. Not gonna lie, I forgot about today's drop, which is why I'm late. But what up, fam? Hope everybody got something. Let's go, Willow Kid. Oh, good if you forgot about the drop. We had a lot of drops this week. So again, I don't think it's gonna be the most valuable, you know, comic week in the world, but I think a lot of these covers could start to gain some popularity once we can put them in our showrooms. People are probably going to want to check out the whole series, but this is probably the week to miss a drop, Willow, so don't feel bad. Getsy missed a drop. This Rose got 2. I got an instant ultra rare delivery. Unbelievable. But again, it wouldn't have been because of December Rose, or I just said December Rose. I'm so excited right now. I'm talking crazy. December Bitcoin. I'm going to probably take a screen recording of the YouTube channel right now and post that. Because I did some Talkgate on here. People won't believe this.
Still gonna keep the same ritual though. So I'll bring it up.
I'm screen recording right now.
Hey man, I'm putting you on timeout again.
It's lagging like crazy.
No reason to spam, brother. Any news on the airdrops? We don't know just yet, dudes. I'm not gonna record this because I feel like the drops haven't been selling out in a second. So I do think that everybody's probably gonna be able to get this drop. Still gonna keep the same ritual though. Minute left. Shout out to my coffee gators.
I feel like it sounds different for some reason or something. I don't know why.
Man's building a wall of comments. Let's go. Good luck, everybody. Orange. Just one. I will record just in case anything crazy happens.
I agree, dudes.
I'm going to treat it like a normal drop here. Like a drop the last couple weeks. Because these you don't have to be split all the money to get. And since a lot of these are going under retail, I may not even... If I was doing this drop not on live stream, I probably would just pick this up under retail. But for the drop purposes, for the surprise purposes, I'm going to go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Bye now.
Shout out Getsy.
For the drop suspense on the live stream, I'm going to go for it today, guys. I went for them every single day this week. Again, I would probably just pick this up in the market or under retail. I'm only going to go for one. But for you guys, I'm going for it. Make the drop a little bit suspenseful. Let's go. You feeling a 3-digit? Come on, I got all high mid comments. Let's go. All right, 11,423. That feels like an ultra rare number. That's a rarity I want. Let's see if it saves me a couple dollars. Wow, so the buy now sold out.
Just gonna go into my reaction.
I like the fact that it's still selling out, pretty quickly. That shows me that we do have a huge audience. Because I remember when Marvel Comics #1 wouldn't even have sold out just yet.
Oh, come on, I would fast forward this a little
Everybody
bit.
got a dub, right?
I think it was right after I saw December's comment.
Yeah, same here, Chasing. Miss Rose got a dub. Just won and sold out. Looks like everybody got one. But the chance of hitting that ultra rare, rare.
We're gonna get back to this Taps video in just a minute.
Scarface got a dub. Mike, you got an L? I was gonna say.
I just want to finish recording this. I don't know which part I'm gonna take yet. This is too long.
Did anybody beat 4? Did anybody try to get as many as you could?
I can't believe I got the ultra rare
That's
though.
a good one. 1948. Good mid number. McQueen got 2 of them. Let's go. Wow, so Shooter, the legend, got 5 of them. Punch got 4.
I may take like a couple small clippets of this.
Yeah, Jeremy. Well, I feel like once you start buying them, you're definitely gambling. Kind of gambling, even if you just go for one. Again, the drop's not as exciting to me because I know everybody gotta get it. But it's still definitely it's still fun trying to go for it. Homie Queen got 2 of them. Shooter got 5.
It's coming up in just a second.
This one's insane. I don't think I've seen anybody get 5 just yet.
Jesus.
On the live stream. Let's go. Let's see. Rios got 5. Good to see people getting captures. December got a comment already delivered.
Oh, here we go.
No way. December got 3 of them. Wow, I got mine delivered too. And I got the ultra rare. What? What? Oh my gosh. People won't believe this today. Talkgate. The ultra rare. Let's go.
All right, time to clip this in smaller sections now. I'm going to work on clipping this in smaller videos while we put on Taps video again. Get back to the goods.
In your life.
Shout out to everybody who got something good today that was an instant delivery.
Is going to be moved into the digital space. So the market sector itself for NFTs, for the metaverse, for these things is exponentially greater with more access to more people than any product that has ever existed in all of time. So it's not, the stuff that's happening now is completely irrelevant to what this industry is going to look like in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, as more people are onboarded into it, as the younger generations who are already digitally native learn about it, adopt it, start to work their job in the metaverse. We're really transitioning to this. It's the exponential age, right? It's the exponential adoption of digital technologies coming at the same time as things like augmented reality glasses and micropayments and all of these things that literally were not possible 10 years ago. So to zoom in.
Can you micropayments right there? It's $1 billion industry alone in microtransactions for, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto. What's going to happen when, we have these augmented reality glasses and it's no friction, right? I'm looking around. I see all my collectibles, my comic books. Imagine the cars, right? West Coast Customs was in a couple Twitter AMAs before, right? West Coast Customs has been watching. Can you imagine the accessories, the microtransactions that are going to happen in OMI when people are constantly just changing their paint jobs, their different rims on cars, adding this, adding that, different accessories on collectibles? When, Mattel's here and we have Barbie for the kids. Think of how many, different clothes the kids will be buying. Microtransactions have been $1 billion industry alone.
Too close and think that because there's 6 companies currently trying to do the license NFT thing that it's somehow competition on the future is just. I just think it's over.
Right, and I totally forgot about this. I saw someone posted, and thanks everyone for the super chats, the questions. I'm trying to hit them and throw them in as we're going through the list, and I will reference back. So thanks, and just getting through some of these because some of the questions in those super chats are already in here. So we'll definitely get to them and then reference back for some community questions as well. But one thing you did just say, and it was actually one of the questions someone asked, was about wearables. So in the first iteration of the VeVe-verse, at least with our homes, will it have functionality with an Oculus or at least some kind of wearable, or is that a few phases out?
It's definitely on the roadmap to integrate with those existing headsets. And I think I saw an article only a few days ago that made it sound like Apple was getting closer to releasing their AR glasses as well. Now, whether they tie in directly from day one, I can't say. I actually don't personally know what that takes from a development standpoint.
Probably won't have it day one.
But those technologies are meant to be plug and play before long as well, right? Where it's connected, what you're seeing on the screen, you can see in the headset. So, yeah, we're definitely it's definitely part of the development roadmap. I can't say yes or no as to whether it'll be day one or not. Yeah.
Fair enough. Next question is on OMI utility. So the OMI token kind of feels lately like it's been friend zone, right? Many of us have just been waiting on utility for quite some time now, and we've seen the VeVe collectibles just go absolutely nuts, and then they've kind of reconsolidate a little bit, but they're still pretty high up from at least where they were, in the beginning versus the OMI token, which is down from this time last year. So, I know we're still waiting on the updated OUP article, which you mentioned there are some other things in the works that will bring strong value back to the token. Can you share more detail around this? We kind of touched on the games, which wasn't expecting that when I wrote that question, but I guess other elements that you really feel are going to bring more value to the token as a whole.
Yeah, so I have been working quite a lot lately on restructuring the entire OMI utility program based on the feedback we've collected, and I think I touched on this a few days ago anyway, or last week sometime. Now, I need to get a full development outlay, or not so much a roadmap, but really I need to find out more if the things that are designed are possible in the time frame that they're possible in. And honestly, I would rather do that before I started to drop these breadcrumbs about what's coming. In saying that, I am planning to try and put out the next version of the OUP early May. Because
early May.
That together by then, and hopefully by then more clarity on the buybacks and those kind of token tie-ins as well. But basically, what we're trying to achieve is more gamification, for lack of a better term, right? And using the token to better effect there. Now, that comes with the staking tiers and the perks that they unlock, which are more comprehensive now than they were in the first iteration. We do have the 5 tiers there. We're going to make OMI transactions available to anyone, right? You don't have to be staking, but we'll probably tack on a slightly larger OMI fee there. So
that's big
for using it without stake. But basically,
so I think this means you'll be able to transact in OMI without having to stake it. So everybody will be able to do it. Maybe with just a bigger fee that'll burn more OMI, so it'll benefit everybody.
What we're trying to achieve is more gamification, for lack of a better term, right? And using the token to better effect there. Now, that comes with the staking tiers and the perks that they unlock, which are more comprehensive now than they were in the in the first iteration. We do have the 5 tiers there. We're going to make OMI transactions available to anyone. You don't have to be staking, but we'll probably tack on a slightly larger OMI fee there. So, as a privilege for using it without staking, you pay a fee which burns from circulation as well. But there's quite a number of mechanisms in there that will start to take OMI out of circulation, reward the stakers, reward longer-term stakers as well. I don't think we had that in the first version. And that way, and as well as creating other ways to kind of fast-track your way through and take OMI out of circulation there. So I can't really go into the details just yet, but I will get those details out to people as soon as possible.
Okay, awesome. So will that be the final version of the OUP article, or will it be version 0.2 followed by another version?
I think this will be the final version. Yeah, look, there might be some numbers that get tweaked, and understandably so. We won't know the full impact of it until it rolls out, right? And so until we get that data set to say, okay, this clearly was attractive enough, or maybe the incentives at this tier weren't strong enough, or things like that, we might be able to tweak some of those numbers and rewards. But no, when we put this out, I'm very confident that it's the strongest program we could possibly put forward.
Woo!
Awesome. Well, wanted to address.
Trying to do a lot right now. Listen to both, but this is a huge part. You just said it's the strongest program they could put forth.
And understandably so, we won't know the full impact of it until it rolls out, right? And so until we get that data set to say, okay, this clearly was attractive enough, or maybe the incentives at this tier weren't strong enough, or things like that, we might be able to tweak some of those numbers and rewards. But no, when we put this out, I'm very confident that it's the strongest program we could possibly put forward at this point.
Jeez.
Awesome. Well,
it's bullish.
To address exchanges too, right? More ways to buy OMI. You mentioned in the last AMA that more exchanges are for sure coming this year. I guess, and I can't ask when, of course, and I can't ask, how many. So my question is,
11,423. That feels like an ultra rare number.
will any of them be more app centric, right? VeVe is an app, and that's where OMI will be used. So are there going to be complementary exchanges that are more app centric and more widely known that we don't have today?
What do you mean by more app centric? You mean like directing people to the app, or directing?
So if you, I think Bit4X has an app, but it's not good, right? Like, so there's definitely exchanges that are more web-based focused, right? So you go to Bit4X, you go to Gate.io, but they're not really known or have heavy use via the app. So I'm thinking, more like a KuCoin or Crypto.com or Binance.
Oh, I see.
Anything like that where there's heavy users that are doing it or buying crypto on their phones.
And presumably because they're using the exchange phone app, the tie-in is there with the VeVe. Yeah. I mean, all the exchanges are on at the moment. I don't know much about Gate.io, to be honest, but the other ones do have a mobile app. But the idea is that we continue to step up the caliber of exchange that we're listed on, and if that is predominantly on there, if most users are using their mobile app, then sure, there's a tie-in there, but it's not necessarily a direct link, obviously, between our app and that app. But there are other options outside of the centralized exchanges too, right? Obviously, we have Uniswap. There will be other sort of decentralized liquidity protocols that might be worth pushing the token to. I would love to start integrating OMI into more DeFi protocols as well to create more opportunity there for people. So they're all things I'm focusing on. There's also apps or companies like MoonPay, right? Like through MoonPay, you can
MoonPay. Watch them charge start soar.
Through Immutable Marketplace, right? Now there's a few boxes we have to check before we can really start applying to those guys, including listing on bigger exchanges. But really the focus outside of the app integrations is figuring out how we can open access to the token, making that a much more seamless experience for the mainstream users who are, the predominant user base that we have, right? And then tying it into the OUP, there will be some incentives that are specifically OUP that give quite hefty advantages, I would argue, and should encourage people who are non-crypto users to want to jump the gap. And then tying it into the OUP, there will be some incentives that are specifically OUP that give quite hefty advantages, I would argue.
Ooh,
and
hefty
should encourage
advantages.
people who are non-crypto users to want to jump the gap and buy that.
And that's going to make so many people, it could be as simple as, I'm just going to throw out an example because they've used it before, nothing confirmed, but a gold Superman cape. Maybe the only way to get that is with Omi, or maybe it's a selective exclusive drop to where you can only get this type of Star Wars collectible, Darth Vader and Omi. It would convert a lot of people to say, all right, instead of having $200, let's just convert to Omi. Boom.
That token too. So we really need that access to be opened as wide and easily as possible, so that we can continue to introduce mainstream users to the Omi token.
Got it. Okay, no, that's helpful. One question that I feel like I ask a lot, but it's because I know just how big it is, so I have to throw it in here. But I'm changing around, so it's not just a full when, but localization, right? The ability to have the app in multiple languages. Is this still happening this year? And I guess why hasn't it happened yet? You know, it's been talked about for almost a year, but is it because VeVe scaling? Is it scaling internal processes to handle the inflow of what that could bring for new users? Or well, I guess what's the holdup? Is it a heavy lift? And is it coming this year?
Yeah, so yes, it's a heavy lift. Yeah, from a development standpoint, once localization is available in the app, everything that is done or rolled out needs a longer lead time. We have to be able to translate everything into each language or make those things available. From a when point of view,
From a when point of view,
we're really prioritizing other things at the moment, frankly. We want to get these payout in. We need these core pillars in place before we can really push the marketing side of things, because everyone who's in the community has seen what the opposite causes, right? When you can't cash out and there's misunderstanding there and those kind of things. So they're definitely the priority. Now, localization makes more sense when we are going to roll out a wider selection of localized licenses, right? I know you're a big anime fan and have been waiting since day one for more actual anime drops. But as part of our rollout, I mean, obviously we now have Disney on board. Disney has an almost innumerable amount of content and licenses, things like that, which will continue to roll out in amongst all our other licenses. But we're at a point now where we really do kind of structure these verticals to start pushing more in one direction or another. So until we kind of have that a bit more of a...
It's open already?
Really multiple licenses that we can roll out in the same vertical, for example, anime.
The market is open already, guys. Kind of crazy. Secret Rare is going for $135 right now. Ultra Rare is going for $42. The Rare is going for $15. Probably pick up the Rare as well. The Uncommon's going for $529, and the Common's going for $390.
It doesn't really make sense to prioritize it over some of these other core features,
Right.
as much as I know that people want them. So that's kind of the logic, I guess, behind that, and why we're prioritizing these other items first. And then as we start to launch these new verticals like anime or whatever it happens to be, we launch them on a rolling basis, so that there's a point to localization. If we go through and change all the languages in the app, and add, say, Japanese and Korean and whatnot, drop one anime brand and then that's it for the year, we actually just wasted a few months of development time.
Right.
So
you need to have like a rolling, like these are specifically targeting, so we're going to keep them, we're going to get them excited and then retain them and then kind of filter in more things that are not just
That makes
only
sense.
one vertical or anime specific, but
They got to have a whole lineup ready basically for when they do this.
still have enough coming, so that way you're appeasing the new user base while still keeping the rest of us, happy as well.
Exactly right. And, we I think we've got more than 200, 250 brands and licenses now. We're still signing an insane amount all the time. And they will start to be more localized, right? We do have like more region-specific drops. And the pieces will be in place before we roll those out. It's more just at the moment, the majority of our user base is in the US, right? And so catering to a more Western audience with the brands and licenses we have just makes more sense from a product rollout than it would to
Makes sense.
completely change the roadmap just to drop sort of one anime license.
Got it. No, that's
So it's on the roadmap.
I had a question on UI and also on marketing, but based on you kind of like going to the brands, I'm going to skip those and come back to them. You mentioned Disney, right? So we've seen an incredible amount of drops with Disney and Marvel and DC and artists in the app, and they've been great, right? But it's also been heavily that content for a while. So, it seems like there's a demand for something new in the community. So my question is, have we seen the top of the top with, Disney and Marvel being the main licensors for our NFTs, or will we see equal caliber brands in, I guess, and not knocking into the artists because, I'm a fan, I have a Trismeet on my collectible, but will we see some more, like, I guess, world-renowned or world-known artists also joining VeVe as well?
Yeah, so I mean, the top of the top is subjective, right? It depends on what you like in particular as to whether you view that as the top. So obviously Disney has a hell of a lot of content under their umbrella. But if you're not a fan of Disney, then you probably don't see that as the top or the upper echelon of brands, right? It's easy to kind of do it from a market capitalization standpoint, but it's not necessarily the top for you. So yeah,
That's a great point that Rhys just hit on. Disney's one of the biggest brands on board right now, but it may not be the biggest to certain people. Certain people may think, excuse me, when sports drops, maybe that'll be the biggest thing to them. Everybody kind of has their own preference, their own things in their own mind, what they see as the biggest. So that's a good point right there. I do believe personally, I think Disney's one of the biggest we've seen so far. But again, that's just my personal opinion.
I think in all categories and all verticals, there's plenty more to come. There's plenty more to come. There's plenty of big artists. There's plenty of big brands. If it just depends on what you like in particular as to whether you're going to value those things as the top. But obviously, our intention is to have as many brands in our hands and as many pies as possible in every product. Right? So yeah, I would say, to subjectively answer your question, yes, I think there's just as many big brands to come. And I mean, even under the Disney umbrella, there's so many things to come that we haven't seen, right? I love the fam and I love the community, and I love that 6 months ago or whatever it was, having Disney was like the most outlandish pipe dream we could have had. And now it's like, you're dropping too much Disney. Give me something else.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right? He just touched on a huge part again. Like, that's how it is. And I think it comes for different reasons, right? But we were saying how great VeVe was before they even announced the Marvel partnership. Think about that, right? They announced we have Marvel license. We went crazy, right? Like, that's amazing. We're getting Marvel digital collectibles, the first ones ever, as NFTs. Then they drop comic books, the huge, uproar, crazy and positivity, right? We have Marvel comic books. Unbelievable. But then everybody kept saying after a while, it's just a Marvel app. All we have is Marvel. Blah, blah. It's like, oh my gosh, that's how spoiled we are right now. Be grateful for all this. And then it was like, yeah, but we won't ever get Disney though. But it's like we have Marvel. Then we have the Disney partnership announcement. We have the Disney first ever digital collectibles. That's mind blowing. And then we kept dropping Disney, and it's like, we have some people that say, oh, it's a Disney app now. What is this? It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, just, this is a blessing in front of us right now.
Right, guys.
We all got ADD. We're like, all right, this has been awesome. What's next? But yeah, and I've actually touched a little bit on like just how large the Disney umbrella is, right? Like, it's not just Disney, Pixar. So I'm really curious to see some more of that unravel. And again, there's still some great content I'm sure that we'll see with Disney. And there's a lot of hope with some of our collectibles having real life utility. There's been some talk around real life utility as well. So I guess how with the real life utility side, will that be solely promo codes, or will there be other potential things like not just Disney Plus subscription, but things like that will come to new collectibles, or will it also have effects on past collectibles?
Yeah, look, as this rolls out, I think we'll see a lot more co-marketing. Right? There's like Coca-Cola Starlight, for example. We're obviously their digital product partner. They've rolled out a new flavor, and we've now rolled out some NFTs that tie in there. Now, obviously, there's not. I think we've probably seen these AR videos. If there's like I don't know what it was from, but if you scanned like a Coca-Cola bottle and it would generate an immersive experience, things like that. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's coming, but that is the future of these kind of co-marketed products. And if we're that partner, then I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be rolling out things like that. As to whether things will be retroactively upgraded to provide those experiences, no idea. Well, it depends on the brand, depends on the product. And from a marketing point of view, are we reusing or trying to rehash a product that has already rolled out, or are we moving attention to a new product and pushing that forward? So, yeah, there's probably not too much more I can comment on that front just yet.
I bet Rhys wants us to say everything
as
right
we
now.
Move forward, and as everything does become digitized, that's kind of, I think that's where the whole industry moves, regardless.
Digital collecting.
Got it. Okay, no, that's helpful for what we can know, right? So one thing that's kind of been tickling my brain a little bit too is, again, like I know you said, we're like Disney was amazing and we got all excited, and then we're kind of like, all right, what's our next big monstrous bomb that's gonna drop? One thing that David, you mentioned in recent AMA was that there's a new digital product coming as well, right? So do you think the reception will be as big as our last digital product with comics dropping? Like that was massive. It made sense for VeVe. Is this next digital product that's coming going to have the same weight?
It's a great question. I don't know what David you was talking about. So you may have just been. Look, any new product type, if it is as big or monumental, sorry, I had to put that up so it's too hot. As the comics, we would look to sort of aim for the same rollout and the same, just to capitalize on it in the same way, I would think. There's probably not. I can't really talk about that. I don't know what David was referring to. We'll all find out together on that front.
Viewing all of us, of course.
David being David.
Yep. That's fair. So still on the brand side, a lot of brands of that 250, I guess, or brands you guys have been announced, but just haven't come yet, right? So we saw Jurassic Park and Capcom and FLPA, even ones that had specific articles come out like LOL Surprise Dolls and Little Prince and things like that, without, I guess, saying which of those or other ones are all that have been announced or revealed still coming, or have some of those licensors moved on to other projects?
Yeah, so we still have deals with all of them, to my knowledge, or most of them. The only questionable one might be NFLPA, because I know the NFL itself came out 12 months ago and kind of put a stop to any sort of NFT deals, and we had a deal.
Sure. We had deals with the NFLPA before NFTs were even a thing.
Look, right, everybody who we've ever been involved in watches what's happening and comes back to us. And I guess just to give people some context on those kind of things, yeah, there were some licenses we announced 6 months ago and expected to roll their content out a few weeks later, and because of the approval process and all those things have been pushed. I mean, 007 is a perfect example. That movie came out months ago. We've only just finally released those last pieces of content. It can take that long for a licensing approval process to actually go through and allow these products. So these days, and we really do try to announce, if we're announcing a new license, it's because we're pretty well ready to drop that content, so that it doesn't end up in this questionable backlog of artists or brands to come. But no, all of those brands that I can see on your list that you've kind of mentioned, Capcom, Jurassic Park, that kind of stuff, are definitely still on the cards. And goes back to the co-marketing thing. There's better campaigns and better uses for the rollout of these products now than there was 12 months ago when we announced some of these things, right? And tying them into other releases and other plans that they have for their own brands and licenses. So, yep, we're going to see a lot more of those co-marketed products and rollout plans.
It's gonna be
no,
huge.
I appreciate the clarification there. So potentially NFLPA is, off the table, at least maybe for now, but that kind of ties into also what we've discussed in past with the verticals coming, right? So we've talked about, of course, anime now. We're talking about sports, and so and music. Are those verticals still? Are there going to be more verticals this year? And then when it comes to sports, if I mean, we're going to see more than just that like you have more than just NFLPA for the sports vertical that you're.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can we see MLB players? Like, come on. You guys know baseball's been my sport. Golf one day.
I think we'll see sports later this year.
Sports later this year?
There's always a more structured approach. That's really what we're aiming for when we roll these things out, right? You've probably noticed lately we're rolling out more vehicles, right? That's kind of become a new vertical on the platform. And in doing so, we'd like to roll out multiple brands that are releasing a similar product, because as you bring in those car collectors, you want to maintain them, the same as we just talked about with the anime vertical. So, things like anime, things like sports.
So we could see more cars coming soon, too.
I think will be further down the line, maybe more of a VeVeverse integration. Artists, right, and not just the artists themselves, like Kozik and dropping those kind of things, but we've always, we had the Artist Alley pegged in at one point. Yep. And I don't think we've really released a lot of details, but that really is a way to introduce existing and well-known artists, as well as incubate upcoming artists to a new user base and offer very exclusive works or pieces of their art, right? It might be the ones of ones and one of ones and things like that. Now, to roll that out, we need the web platform. We need another way for people to, just as an example, this is not confirmation, but say we were going to auction off a one of one piece. Doing it in the app, you're very limited because you can only buy so many gems per day and things like that. Whereas with the web platform, we have our own payment providing system where you can pay in and potentially buy those larger value items. So there's just a more structured rollout as to when these things hit based on what's necessary to actually roll them out.
Got it. Okay.
Really quick, I'm going to pause this video to show you something hilarious that I just saw, which is absolutely true. Sometimes people make this out to be so much worse than the situation we're in right now. And I just saw a video. This is from the Comey Homies Twitter page. This is actually hilarious. This is the caption. This is how fudders want you to believe the situation is going. And in the background is reality. People walking in shorts. It just goes to show you that's so relate that to VeVe in so many ways. That's hilarious. Just wanted to quickly just put that up real quick.
And speaking of the web platform, I know you said that's coming first and then KYC. Question on the UI side, right? So there's been recent updates, right? We got our vault values better in line. There's been, some things changing, but for the most part, the UI social aspect still needs some facelift, right? From where it's kind of, but there's also bigger priorities, of course. But with the desktop version coming, can we see, I guess, some quicker turnaround time on uplift on the UI or further functionality? Just because now it's going to be web-based versus only app-based, and will they look exactly the same?
Yeah, to start with, they will absolutely look the same. And I mean, that might be maintained as we go. The web does give us the potential for better functionality, especially for designing your showrooms.
Showrooms are going to be crazy different.
It's so much easier to do with a mouse than it is to kind of sit and click. And I don't have 40 hours to spend like the Voltaholics trying to design these things, So the web platform to start with will absolutely be a mirror of what we have, and then we can build in some of that functionality as we go forward. Yeah, that would be the plan there. Sorry, there was another part to your question that I've just spaced on.
I guess social aspects, right? So I mean, I know with MC like we got all the acronyms. With MCP, will of course be stack ranked, but will it be stack ranked in the app for us to see? And then are there going to be more social aspects that kind of allow us to, just to be more involved in the app full time versus, I guess, doing more through Twitter and other social?
Yeah, definitely longer term. Right? I don't think we'll see those features roll out sort of in the immediate web platform. But yeah, for MCP, anything like that rolls out in the web platform, it will be in the app, and vice versa. Like your ranking, your points, what you're kind of earning,
That's
daily
huge.
recurring, all of those kind of things. And we may have gotten to this at some point, but the web platform, for one, is live in production, being tested now. I think same thing. We'll invite some beta testers in a couple of weeks when that's ready to kind of just be played with.
If you guys are looking for beta testers, I see Taps raising his hand. Let's go. I know I would be excited to test out some of these showrooms, being able to mess around, build some of my vaults, maybe live a couple nights, doing it live. I mean, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, and the MCP, the first stage of the MCP, I think I last heard was about 70% of the way through now. That's your rankings, I'd have to go back and look at the MCP article. But that first stage is actually pretty close to being implemented now as well. All the algorithms to calculate those points and the recurring daily points and things have all kind of been set and locked in now. So it's more just integrating the UI. Now, how long does the last 30% take? I have no idea. But it should be rolling out concurrently. And now, we've really hit all the big ticket items for new products, the promo codes, the comics, those things that have been quite resource intensive. So it's a lot more optimizations and features now that we can actually start to implement.
Things are moving.
Bit of a shadow there.
Starting to feel a little hot there, Rhys. So the spotlight on you.
That's it. A bit climbing on my head.
Yeah. I've just got a few more questions, and then if we have time, hopefully we have some time to
FA fixed the lighting.
community questions as well. But marketing, right? We kind of discussed it in the beginning, but Alex mentioned that he will be expanding the marketing team, and I guess the marketing makes sense once MTL and KYC are live, which he did preface in that AMA. Is the plan to still market both VeVe and the OMI token that was mentioned back in summer of last year? And what does that marketing plan look like, right? Like, is it all going to be mostly social advertisement, or is there also potential that VeVe could advertise in other metaverses, right? Like how people buy plots of land in Sandbox and Essential Land, you can advertise there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any reason why not. It's very targeted advertising at that point because you've got people that are in the ecosystem. A lot of the VeVe marketing, and I don't want to speak for Alex on this, as he said, we've been waiting for these kind of core pillars to come in, but a lot of that marketing does come with things like the promo code and that kind of thing because it's a much more targeted approach than just putting ads on Facebook or things like that, right? There's no real return from those kind of things anymore. I think we'll definitely be rolling out some influencer marketing campaigns as well, trying to, and
let's go.
Because of the nature of our products, the brands, and the different types of verticals, you can go and access the collectible car influencers, and you can go and access the Disney influencers and really start to leverage those individual fan bases and utilize people that are trusted in that space. And that gives us 250 established communities or more.
Shout out Logan Paul one time. You don't think a partnership's going to happen one day? A collaboration? He's probably watching the videos. Shout out to Logan and Jake.
And that we can really roll these things out to and shift that awareness and that focus as new verticals and products are rolled out on the platform. So from a VeVe point of view, like I can see a mind ticking what's going.
I'm sure a lot of VeVe, influencers out there will probably start to, possibly see some campaigns with VeVe content creators one day too, I imagine.
So,
long term.
It definitely is, but it just kind of hit me. So, I mean, we saw the the partnership earlier last year with Cryptos R Us, but it sounds like part of the marketing strategy is shifting to where you're going to be targeting, lead influencers in the space of where you're going to be dropping those NFTs. Like you said, potential large influencers in vehicles, right? But also you mentioned that there's going to be some games coming later.
Maybe like an Elon Musk. Let's go.
On this year. So you could be targeting influencers who are in the gaming community who have, again, their own set of fan base and user base who have no idea about VeVe.
Yeah, correct. And no idea about OMI, right? It depends what those tie-ins are. So the success of these other games that are using the token and anyone in the future, we will obviously try to boost that. But again, we're going to co-market each other because it's benefiting both ecosystems. You use Cryptos R Us as an example on the Ecomi side and the token side, because we will be pushing these other integrations and really trying to get the token in as many places as possible, as well as VeVe. I will definitely be looking for not influencers in the crypto space, but for publications like that, right? People who do understand it and can direct it. But in the same vein that there's no point advertising empty shelves in VeVe, there's not much point spending money on the marketing side of things on the token until you can use it in the app or until there are other uses for it. Right? So that's definitely the first stage of that.
This is an accumulation period before it all happens.
Before we can really push that side. But I'm building a new token team to help me on that side and with the marketing thing as well, so that we really can start to expand the awareness and the use of the token.
I think that's the first time we've heard that. So VeVe in general is expanding, right? So we've heard the marketing team's expanding. You're building out a token team. And is the token team just to re-engineer the tokenomics, or will they stay on and
I think it's more about awareness.
Token? Stay on and do more. So we're dedicated developers to help me to really build out all of the the OUP integrations, but all of the future integrations in using the token too. More on the marketing side as well. I'm good at what I do, but I'm not that good at all of these things, right? So I need.
If you need help marketing, I'm usually the guy.
I need to get help on that front. But we finally, we are at that point where those big ticket items are out of the way. We've survived the first 12 months of this product being live, and now we can start to utilize more resources and bring them on. So the team in general is always expanding, right? Alex is expanding his marketing team for the VeVe side. We've got 2 new creative directors who have been with us since the start of the year, once Trevor moved on, and those guys have a lifetime of experience, not just as a production manager, like the role Trevor was in, but actually building the models and sculpting and all of those kind of things and working with licensors. So, all of those pieces are in place now as well. I think we brought on 3 new developers in the past couple of weeks on the VeVe side to help kind of scale that out. There's always new security engineers and all of those things.
I meant Alex expanding the VeVe team.
The team is just growing exponentially at the moment, and it needs to. We need more hands on deck to scale the product and to scale to meet our vision.
Now that is actually my next question was around turnover, right? Trevor leaving was kind of a surprise to all of us, right? He was awesome for the community. He's a smart guy. And then my question was,
this is pre-VeVe and Omi expansion.
You've been with Ecomi for years. I was actually looking for a picture of you that was updated to put on the thumbnail, and I found one where you have short hair when it was talking about Orbis Ecomi, and I was like, Rhys had short hair at one point, but this is years ago. And so, so you've been around for a long time, and so it sounds like, there's going to be more expansion on the teams, but what's kept you here for so long, right? It's, when you signed on, there was talk of a certain product and became a different thing, and then now it's become what it is today. But you have to have had other opportunities, especially with other, NFTs and other marketplaces that are maybe even larger, right? So I guess what keeps you here, and how large do you think, your team or just the VeVe team will be expanding over the next year?
Yeah, when I first started with Ecomi, we just had a wallet, and it wasn't even we didn't even have the product yet, right? It was like, hey, we need someone to write some articles for us about blockchain. And I was like, what the hell is blockchain? That was it. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, I can figure this out. What keeps me here is
the team and vision.
All the chaos and the exhaustion and all those things. This is the most exciting opportunity that I've ever been a part of, right? And
I agree.
To really be able to facilitate this transition, especially as we really do move into the metaverse. We've got the co-founders, obviously Dan and Dave have built this product, but collectively, we all, not just the team, but the community, we're all really the forefathers and foremothers of the metaverse, right? And that to me is exciting to be able to.
That's something that people don't realize, right? Everybody has their own goals, which is perfectly okay too. I came into this, obviously, I want to make life-changing money. That's definitely an aspect to it. But, I've always been not really trying to, but I always felt like, I was building a legacy. And I feel like finding VeVe was just, everything in the universe just matched perfectly. And that's exactly what's happening right now. This is going to be legendary. literally the four founders of the metaverse. We have, the biggest brands in the world's first ever digital collectibles. Once digital collecting becomes the norm, the standard, the mecca, I mean, we're going to think back and say, wow, we were really that early. This is history, guys. Like I always say, it doesn't feel like history in the making when you're in the midst of it, when you're in the micro, when you're in the day-to-day, let alone the hour-to-hour and minute-to-minute. But when you take a step back and you think monthly, yearly, this is truly history in the making right
really
now.
will hopefully influence that in a positive manner, because moving to a more digital life could be quite dystopian if it's done incorrectly, right? So, look, I feel not an obligation to stay around. I'm very much... I'm still so excited about all this, right? It's this is ground zero of
the excitement, it's the fun, it's the
humanity, not just of products and those kind of things. So to have a hand in shaping that is incredibly satisfying for me. I've stuck around because we've all worked so damn hard to get here already. I'm inspired by this every day, and by the community and by the vision that we all collectively have and contribute to. So, until I feel that change or like I've achieved, or not peaked, but until I find a point where I feel like I've achieved everything I could achieve, I'll be here. I think we all will be.
Yeah, no, great answer. And I've got one last question, then we'll take some community questions. So get your questions ready, guys. Try to make them, we've got Rhys for X amount of time, so try to make them pointed. 1 year ago, or I guess just 2 weeks shy of 1 year ago, we had our first AMA, and I asked you on that AMA, what do you think will happen with VeVe, big picture, long term? And you said you believe VeVe will be a household name. And at the time, it was kind of like still very early, right? And we're at 60,000 users, around there, maybe 100,000 is where we hit it, but that's still a big ask. And even now at 2.6, that's still a big ask. So, transparently, between you, me, our 600 closest friends watching, do you still feel the same way as things have changed from last year? And what strategic initiatives do you and the team have to make that possible for VeVe?
Yeah, if anything, I'm more bullish now.
Let's go, Rhys.
Then it was we had all these ideas and vision, but it was untested, right? And there's still a lot of iterations and testing to go, but I think VeVe will become one of the biggest companies in the world, frankly. Right?
Let's go. This needs a rewind.
We're digitizing ideas and vision, but it was untested, right? And there's still a lot of iterations and testing to go, but I think VeVe will become one of the biggest companies in the world.
Let's go.
We have this. We're digitizing decades worth of content from an individual brand, let alone 250 brands and artists. We're creating these kind of endless revenue streams for licensors, but also
we are digitizing 250 of the biggest brands in the world. Decades worth of content. Like, come on.
So just creating all of these new product types, reusing that IP, I don't know anyone who was buying a Slimer figurine, 12 months ago from a shelf, but they'll buy the digital version because there's...
Now it's digital. Now everybody in their phone becomes a fan of whatever brands they are fans of. Nothing changes, just digital. It's just on their phone. Now the ease of access. Everybody's a collector who has a cell phone.
That nostalgic value attached. When you really expand the scope of that IP that these brands hold on to and put it in place in terms of this global transition into digital life. I don't really see a future where VeVe hasn't become a household name and hasn't really kind of taken a lot of that market share and impact, and then you expand on it with the metaverse idea and all those things. So I'm easily more bullish than I was 12 months ago. I'd say in another 12 months I'll be in the exact same boat.
Let's go.
And because this thing's a Jimmy McElroy thing. If you can dream it, you can do it, right?
It's crazy because when I say this stuff, how much backlash I get from some of the negative people in the community who just want to fun and say I'm a moon boy and all this stuff. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. It's the same kind of mindset visionaries have. You know, the greatest of all time have that mindset. Walt Disney. So when you go out there and say that kind of stuff, people who may not share that same kind of vision or belief, they just want to try to pull you down. Those are just distractions.
if you, like, you understand, you know, if it can be built, it can be built. The only limitations are time, right, or resources, and to do it in a way, or to do it with people who have such high levels of success in business, David Yu and Al Khan and Dan, and to, for me personally, to be able to learn from them and really understand the structured plans behind these rollouts. It's nothing short of bullish. Initiative-wise, I mean, everything we've kind of touched on today, the way that we will continue to roll out these products, continue to access these fan bases, continue to build that user base, to the point where, you know, we can start creating our own branded content, right? And I think David Yu's dreams would be to eventually own the studios that are making the content instead of outsourcing it, and see the company expand from that.
True. This is going to be way bigger than people ever imagined.
That side as well, which then, you know, maybe somewhere down the line we do move into the hardware side of things in terms of the glasses, or the partnerships, and that stuff too. So
because Akomi is a technology company. Their first ever invention was the hardware wallet. Then the VeVe app. They're going to continue. You know, this isn't just a pop-up one-and-done thing. They're building for decades.
Limitless potential with something like this, because there are no physical bounds to what we're doing, right? And that's never been available before.
No, that's super helpful, because that was one thing that I was kind of curious too, right? Is you said from last year you didn't really have funding. It took off, blew up, and then now you do have funding, and then you're about to get a whole lot more potential cash infusion once we go web version, because Apple's not taking as big of a chunk of that pie that is the revenue that you can make, right? So that's good to know that you're really looking at, I guess, future acquisitions or potential mergers, either on the hardware side or even bringing things in-house, right? If you're outsourcing for studios, you're paying a premium, right? Versus having someone who can run it in-house, and that's helpful to know. So that kind of helps me kind of articulate, all right, becoming, like, want to become one of the world's largest companies, that's a big ask, right? But it's not impossible. We've seen companies have it happen in, 5 years, 10 years, to have weight against some others. And so it's just a matter of making the right moves and growing exponentially, which the past year obviously has. So that is super exciting.
Yeah, definitely exciting.
Why not? Why not? We've got the opportunity here. Another beautiful thing about VeVe is, we're not, unlike a lot of companies in this space, there's not a crazy amount of VC backing, that gets to influence these choices just to be profit driven, so that we can maintain such a strong focus on the collectibility or on the communities
such
that
a big
we're
point.
trying to access and build, instead of like, no, we just need to churn out this thing and sell this stuff. So,
and that right there is the reason why I think they're going to stay private, like they said before, and not go like a public company. Because at that point, once they go public, your sole goal is to just meet the shareholders' needs, make every move about a business making money move. And sometimes that hurts the user experience. And they want to make sure that the user experience remains their primary focus, because they know if they make the user experience the primary focus, the VeVe app's going to succeed, which will make Omi succeed and so many other things. So I do believe that their main goal is to make the VeVe app the most fun user experience possible. That's why they've always said VeVe, the whole VeVe experience will be like the Disney World, the Disneyland of NFTs. Right now, I'm trying to make a collage of all my comic book arcs, and it's a very tedious situation. You got to do it on Instagram story. So I've been grinding right now.
Being able to maintain that control is a very big positive for our ecosystem as well, especially because it has come from such a pure place. Like, I love watching David Yu talk about collectibles.
Facts.
I'd love to see him. Yeah. So it's like, it's satisfying. We've all we've all grown together to really deliver this product and catch these curveballs that seem to come at us every 3 days and manage those things as well. So
always curveballs.
I couldn't be more bullish on the future.
Awesome. And take a few of the community questions. There's one who came from Mark, actually, and I think this is a great question, but airdrops potentially from large companies in talk short term, right? So without, I guess you can't say who, but is there propensity for, a large brand like Disney or Coke or someone of that caliber who could do airdrops on some of the collectibles that we have today?
I mean, there's potential for anything, right? And I don't want to say one way or another whether it will be anything.
In talk short term, right? So without, I guess you can't say who, but is there propensity for, a large brand like Disney or Coke or someone of that caliber who could do airdrops on some of the collectibles that we have today?
I mean, there's potential for anything, right? And I don't want to say one way or another whether it will be anything.
Can't give out exact confirmations, but he said potential for anything. You don't think these brands are watching other brands give airdrops and seeing what that does for the community, for the sales, etc.?
But purely from a licensing point of view and my experience as to how long it takes some of these assets to be approved and all those kind of things, I think we're more likely to continue seeing them from the more independent artists in the short term than we are the bigger brands.
In the short term. Because that's the thing. When you're dealing with these big, IP brands, it takes a long time to go through the legal aspects. Everything has to get checked off. It's not like they can just go, okay, we did this. Can we just do this real quick? Like everything has to have that long process. So with these big, utility airdrops or anything like that from these big, huge brands, it may take some time for that. So I think a lot of these artist collectibles in the short term could do really well, especially once the interoperability hits.
I think you may have caught it that Matt Gondek, there's an airdrop going out. There was a snapshot a few days ago or last week sometime. So congratulations to everyone who supported Matt in that first drop, or the first two drops, I should say. So I think we'll see more of that. Those guys are just a bit more ingratiated in the NFT community too, right? And that is a big feature of the NFT community. So yeah, I wouldn't rule any of these things out, but from a short-term roadmap, no, I think we'll see it from more independent artists than we will the big brands.
Awesome. And that's actually, I liked his work in general, and then people were selling them cheap. And I've always kind of theorized, right? Like we saw some drops come from, or the airdrops come from Ron English. And I was just thinking, I mean, it makes sense for most of these artists, especially the ones who already have content in other NFT platforms, to do something like that. So when people were selling them cheap, I was like, I'm going to complete the set and hold it and see what happens, right? So I'm looking forward to having that airdrop come.
And not to just to add to that, like the artists do have a smaller community, so they can be more personal with it, right? As opposed to like the big conglomerates who are generally faceless, right? We're the link between them and the community now, instead of an artist that you can contact on Twitter and talk about his work and that kind of thing. So from their point of view, it's a great community building tool as well. Whereas like something like the Coca-Colas of the world, I mean, they're going to be fine with or without us, right? They've got a hell of a lot of customers already. So, until that becomes more of a feature, I think we'll see it from the small guys.
Awesome. And I just want to pull this question up because I believe it was already answered in the last AMA that the metadata will be shown in some of the updates that's coming, right?
I don't think it's
is it in the marketplace or?
Yes, yeah. There'll be more in the marketplace and through the web platform, but the metadata on a Mutascan, presumably is what they're kind of asking for, really requires us to create and move a lot of data to an independent server, independent database, so that token can link back to the image files and those kind of things. Now, it's on the timeline, but honestly, it's just not that big a priority yet. And until, and I mean, the whole user experience for VeVe is still inside the VeVe app. So you can see all the metadata there anyway. And I expect it to remain that way until we get these other bigger ticket items in place.
But we will eventually be able to see that, for instance, like he's asking about how Palm are advertising they're launching the first DC NFT, but we'll be able to see and have an audit trail that shows that the TODs, for instance, were minted in October 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why Palm NFT advertises these things. They're just, it's everyone
just trying to knock them down.
Yeah, it's just how it goes. It's just how it goes.
Shout out to Ricky Shepard. This is hilarious. This is great. Shout out to Ricky Shepard, man. Rick Shep 91. He said, said I used Talkgate today and hit secret rare and ultra rare and still got 2 pending. Let's go.
Yeah, and like we're all so ingratiated in the NFT space that these things seem weird to me. But not every company is aware of every other company, and not every licensing department operates in the same way. We might be with DC Direct, maybe they're with some other branch of DC, right, or DC.
Let me rewind this. This is a big part
of things now.
So many people out there want to talk about how like, oh, Palm said this brand said this, they said this. They hit the nail on the head with this one.
I think we'll see it from the small guys.
Awesome. And I just want to pull this question up because I believe it was already answered in the last AMA that the metadata will be shown in some of the updates that's coming, right?
Not in. I don't think it's.
Or is it in the marketplace or?
Yes, yeah. There'll be more in the marketplace and through the web platform, but the metadata on a Mutascan, presumably, is what they're kind of asking for. Really requires us to create and move a lot of data to an independent server, independent database, so that token can link back to the image files and those kind of things. Now, it's on the timeline, but honestly, it's just not a bigger priority yet. And until I mean, the whole user experience for VeVe is still inside the VeVe app, so you can see all the metadata there anyway. And I expect it to remain that way until we get these other bigger ticket items in place.
But we will eventually be able to see that, for instance, like he's asking about how Palm are advertising they're launching the first DC NFT, but we'll be able to see and have an audit trail that shows that the TOBs, for instance, were minted in October 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why Palm NFT advertises these things. It's everyone
is trying to knock them down.
It's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. Yeah, and we're all so ingratiated in the NFT space that
we're going to see a lot of that.
But not every company is aware of every other company, and not every licensing department operates in the same way. We might be with DC Direct, maybe they're with some other branch of DC, right, or DC Comics, or that kind of thing. So these things are usually more layered than most people realize, and people are just oblivious sometimes. Yeah.
Got it. I mean, and actually, I was kind of filtering through the questions, but if they're stating something like that, or another competitor is stating something like that, is that not? I wouldn't say like a suable offense, but is that not something that you could kind of go after and say like, hey, this is incorrect or misinformation, or is that just kind of?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not. Look, I just think we're so early in the piece that it's a waste of resources to bother.
Facts.
We definitely can do it, but I mean, we've all been using VeVe for almost 18 months now, 12 months, 18 months. We all know where these NFTs started. For me, that's enough. Whether we bother pursuing or not is another story. I think after the last time they announced something like, didn't Palm try to say something like this 6 months ago, that they were releasing the first DC NFT and now they're doing it again?
Yeah, so, I think so. And I believe, what's the big movie theater, Regal, or one of them was like, hey, we have the first Spider-Man NFT, right? And like around that
AMC.
too. So
AMC, right? It's first Spider-Man. Yeah, whatever it was, blah, blah, blah. And then, and I think people are just oblivious of what's actually taking place in the ecosystem. And anyone who can try to claim, we're the first that ever did this, you kind of try to capitalize on that PR opportunity, whether it's right or wrong.
right.
I think people should fully expect to see more of it. Right? It's if that's part of people's product rollout strategy and they're trying to claim that first space, they're going to do it regardless of whether it's true.
Is VeVe still working with Rogers and Cohen? Because isn't that part of, I guess, what PR strategy would do, right? To like comment on those, like when someone makes a big claim, sometimes there's a lull and before we get like a response, or sometimes it just kind of internally works until there's an AMA. But I guess, is that going to be, we're going to see more from the PR side with Rogers Cohen, not just like, hey, this big drop came from VeVe, so we're going to put it out to like PR Newswire and like all these other ones, but will we see more, I guess, kind of more spin control coming?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they already actually do quite a bit of that as it is. And predominantly, if you're seeing VeVe in a publication or any of our drop info or those things, it's come from Rogers and Cohen. They've pushed to their media lists, those kind of things, especially we'll really start to utilize their connections through media lists at events like NFT NYC those kind of things, so that we are starting to target much more niche audiences in the NFT space, but also in the brand space. But yeah, or any publication that you've ever seen VeVe in has been a direct result of their outreach. So they're doing a great job, actually.
Got it. Awesome. Token migration, is the bridge site still indefinite for those who don't want to migrate their tokens just yet?
Okay, so there's a bit of confusion going out about these things, right? The bridge is very separate to the token migration or the token swap. Okay, so the token swap site is chainswap.ecomi.com. That allows you to swap from the old GoChain token or wrapped OMI token to the new ERC20 OMI token. The bridge is how you move the new ERC20 OMI token, so you must have migrated it first. That's how you move from base chain Ethereum or layer 1 to layer 2, which is immutable, and then send it into the VeVe app. So two separate things. The migration, the chain swap site to go from GoChain to Ethereum will remain open indefinitely. The bridge will also remain open indefinitely until or unless we get to a time where all tokens in existence are living on layer 2, and exchanges are integrated. So two separate things there. And on that, people may have seen me tweet. That's actually live. The bridge is live now. Do things left to test before I'm going to send anyone there. But that now allows you to bridge or deposit to layer 2, withdraw back to layer 1, and transfer from immutable to other ERC20 wallets, which hasn't been available yet. That's a brand new feature on their side as well. So I'll pull that out next week, I think.
Awesome. I've seen a few questions about asking on Twitter verification, which I know you guys have been trying forever. See a question from Wubba Wubba on any chance of reducing the 10% cash out fee, which I think probably need to make up for some of the hit you're taking on there. So
the longer term plan is definitely to try and bring that fee down. It's I think David mentioned it in the at the end of the Gary Baseman artist spotlight that we had, but it is a balancing mechanism because we are taking that 30% hit from app stores as well, and we'll definitely look to bring that down and in line with the rest of the industry. I mean, longer term, I'm trying to and I think we'll see it, is to be able to just cash back into stablecoins, right? I mean, this whole industry is becoming much more integrated with crypto and crypto payments anyway. Like, why would you want to wait 2 weeks to get money in your bank account when I can cash into stables almost instantly? So I think that's what we'll eventually see, and those things should obviously, the fees should come down on that too.
Awesome. No, it's great to hear. Crypto Chris, will there be any rewards for early adopters like an OG badge or something? I remember there was mention that everyone who had season 1 collectibles or was a user in season 1, you guys mentioned will have at some point some kind of OG status, but will there ever be like an OG badge or some kind of tie back to when you joined as a user?
Yeah, I think we can definitely build that in. The badges and things will come as part of the MCP, and some of those, whether it's OG badge or whether it's season 1 badge or just something that lets you flex back then as well. I think we discussed.
I think it'll be like a season 1 badge. If you guys have seen my Twitter, you guys have seen a bunch of emojis like the circle ring. Shout out to Kyle Wilson for the circle ring. It was a huge moment in VeVe's history. A lot of you guys have seen the other emojis there, like the gem, diamond, the crown, and the season, or not season 1, but the 1 badge, like the first place badge. The reason why I have first place badge is there is because kind of like how I had VVOG in my bio and VeVe decided, let's use that, right? I've had these emojis in here for a while, and the reason why is because I was thinking once we get these season 1 badges, it'll probably be like a first place medal, and that'll be like season 1 badge. So that's why I have the first place badge up there is like a season 1 badge type thing.
Early on, to be able to display the date you joined VeVe as well, because that in itself is
that'd be awesome.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've integrated that yet. So yeah, features like that I think are definitely worth having. And I mean, really, a lot of those OG collectors are the ones that will be able to move up the ranks of the MCP anyway, and that becomes a bit of a status symbol as well. So yeah, definitely, it goes with the collector mindset, right? Everybody likes to show off a little bit and flex, and if we can build in more of those things, then it's just more fun for everybody.
100%. And we'll take a few more questions. I've had you.
My competitive nature is probably going to come out
for quite some time, so appreciate the added time. But Cooper asks, what's the biggest obstacle you see for VeVe in the upcoming months or years?
Biggest obstacle? Getting enough sleep. Honestly, I don't see any particular like stake in the ground where I think, oh, that's going to be really hard to overcome. Right? I mean, the only real obstacles are time and resources, and because of the success of the past 14 months and the hype cycle that came with it, we're perfectly poised to be able to build these things and continue to expand the team. So yeah, there's not one particular thing that sticks out in my mind. I mean, we face new and different challenges every week. Google just delisted us from the App Store 2 days ago and then reinstated us. I mean, there's always something.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really an odd. It seems like when it rains, it pours. Like there's just like a collection of things that all happened in the past 2 months.
Yeah, just piles on. I mean, even the bot thing, right? Like when we first launched this product, we sat there thinking, like, I hope someone wants to buy this, you know. And then we've had to spend the last 9 months building in systems to stop people buying things, you know.
Crazy.
So like, there's just stuff that there's so many things we can't account for that we will just deal with as we go. But with each one,
that's why it's so important to invest in the teams. You know, when you invest in a project, there's gonna be, you know, tons of projects out there, you know, that face different obstacles. But when you know the team that's involved, you know that they're going to be able to get over every obstacle. You know, that's the difference right there. We've seen obstacles happen when we had 8,000 users and then woke up 3 weeks later, had 180,000 users. Huge obstacle back in March 2021.
Our capabilities to handle these situations grow. So nothing really seems insurmountable at this point.
Awesome. And this is an interesting question, but Ryan asks, you know, Alcon had said that VeVe in the past was working with the same team that made Pokemon Go. So I'm wondering if he's referring to Niantic. In an interview a while back, is that still in progress?
It's a very good question. Do we know what interview that came from? Is it mine? Oh, I think there was a clip on Twitter from a very early investor meeting or something. Honestly, I can't speak to that. I have no idea. I'd have to, that's a somebody else question, frankly.
If you want him to hop on right now, you can let him know.
Looks like there's a little preview of the 4 collectibles dropping. Let me just go over this real quick. Shout out to Adriel Money Tree Vibes. This is his Twitter name. Looks like Gondek put out a little preview and he posted some pictures. So it looks like that's one of the drops. That's going to be the second one. These are a little bit harder to see. I'm going to zoom in on the pictures here. That's another one. And then this last one here. You know what these look like? These look like these are ready for gamification to battle the Marvel Mighties. I don't know if that's what's going to happen or not, but that's what it looks like to me. Only a little bit longer, this one.
This is an interesting question. So when will we be able to use VeVe NFTs as our Twitter profile?
Ooh.
I imagine that would tie into the whole ImmutableX marketplace side, and when they can build that integration with Twitter, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly right. When the NFTs are interoperable,
this is going to be the game changer. How many people on Twitter, on Instagram, on different social media platforms, on Facebook, probably want to use the first ever Batman, the first ever Superman, the first ever Spider-Man, the first ever Mickey Mouse, the first ever Donald Duck, the first ever Walt Disney as their profile picture? Like,
it's built on the same standard, right? So Twitter has integrated ERC721 as your profile pictures. As soon as you can send our NFTs out, theoretically you could use them as profile picture. So yeah, whenever those kind of things take place, if there's a slightly different integration because it's a layer 2, maybe it takes longer. But I still maintain that everybody and all users will move into these layer 2 protocols over the next 12 to 24 months, and those integrations will come with them. So
it's before it's all set up.
Awesome.
We're truly going to look back at all these times. I know it's just like, it may sound old, me just keep reiterating the same thing, but it's because people forget. It's so easy to get caught up and start thinking, we're late, but when you start hearing these things, you remember This is before everything, the structure is even solidified.
See if you.
It's like, would you rather be late but have everything be perfect, but there's no room for opportunity because everything's crazy high prices, value, but it's running smooth. There's no hiccups. Or would you rather be early, deal with the hiccups, try to give feedback when things aren't working great, be there for the ups and downs, and there's huge room for opportunity. I'd rather be on the ground floor.
That we already kind of know the answers. And I think you've already, for the most part, answered this, but I'll go ahead and take this as the last question. Horst really wants to know, he's said quite a few times, what are Ecomi VeVe's priorities at the moment, and why do they take so long for everything? I think the priorities. Yeah, what are the? ML, KYC, everything that we've spoken about so far.
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on that anyway. The core priorities at the moment are web platform, KYC, payout, then OUP, and like integrating the OMI features, right? Being able to do OMI to NFT, that kind of thing. That's probably the next biggest community request outside of payout, and obviously putting OMI in more and more places. As to why we take so long for everything, we don't. I completely disagree with that. We were a startup 14 months ago that had never sold a product and launched a product into a non-existent industry.
That's what people get so caught up in not realizing. They think they just have everything, people don't realize that they shouldn't have found VeVe this early. That's the ego kick that people don't want to hear. Me included, I shouldn't have found VeVe this early, but we were all blessed. So because of that, people just assume all these brands on board, hundreds of thousands of people. It's not early anymore. Why aren't things here now? It's like, this is just a startup that we're just hoping to sell a couple Batman, things blew up.
And we have managed to build that industry off our backs to the point where we now have competitors copying what we're doing. So to say that we take too long, completely wrong. I think your time horizon's wrong. And on top of that, there's been so many of these curveballs and new integrations that we've had to build in, right? Like whether it was the comics or whether it was, the controllability or all of these other kind of things that have taken precedent on top of being a very lean team for a lot of last year. It's only now that we have that capacity to expand and really build out the team and as we say, move the existing people up the rungs so that we can continue to branch out and roll these developments out. So yeah, I mean, frankly, I completely disagree with the statement that we take too long to do things. Obviously, yes, things like the MTL and stuff we thought we would have in place 6 months ago, right? But that, again, to us was a brand new thing, new integration, start building that in, change provider, then New Zealand comes out with these new rules, so we have to kind of rejig the way that we're doing things and the order of stuff. So there's always very justifiable reasons as to why something gets moved around. But all of those are to maintain what we have and to future-proof for the longevity of the business. So,
yeah. Awesome. I'll take one more question since that one was kind of all over the place.
Real quick, one more stop before the interview just ends. Shout out to Surpan_channel on Twitter. Posted this out. Something about these covers made me think it could be animated. Maybe I think I saw a tweet I might have saw maybe like for a split moment. This is how I'm expecting some of these covers to look once we can see these in the showrooms. Could you imagine these? These are less than retail right now. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you guys that this is exactly what's going to happen because we don't know. But I think someone made this animation of this comic book like themselves, kind of like a Photoshop. But this exact comic cover was the reason why I thought maybe we could get animated covers one day soon because it's already on different platforms. And once we can put these in our showrooms, that's when I think maybe the animation could come alive, like an upgrade maybe. If you go to this comic book, go to the marketplace, look at the prices and come back where you see all the rarities and it kind of glitches for a little bit. I'm not sure if that's just a glitch or maybe like a little teaser of an animation. Check this out. Could you imagine one day if that's what this cover looks like? That's kind of how I saw this cover looking with lightning and the rain coming down. That's just what I imagine one day. I so hope that comes because I did buy a handful of these under retail for like $3. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Michael asks, Rhys, can you explain how the reserve wallet has significance? And I feel like this is a good question because a lot of people don't fully understand tokenomics. And then also, there's been a lot of like, hey, if Omi's burning this so much, what happens if it goes to zero? So when the reserve wallet goes to zero, does the circulating supply start to diminish, or will the team do non-programmable random buybacks?
Yeah, so circulating supply won't go to zero. The reserve wallet won't go to zero. And I will release more information on that alongside our OUP rollout and sort of how that's going to work and how we're tying these other games and platforms into our ecosystem. So we have kind of developed, we figured that out. We've got a lot of mechanics there that won't let it go to zero and give it that longevity and give us the capacity to use that reserve to support these other platforms and any future products that we happen to come out with, over the next few years. So the removal of tokens from circulating supply in our ecosystem will come directly from the Home Utility Program, which will then hopefully, we've created a system where those
VeVe just tweeted out,
continue to trickle back into the reserve and extend the longevity of that too. But just stay tuned for a few more weeks until I get those details out, and it'll all become a lot clearer.
Awesome. And thank you for the super chat, girl on me. But I think this ties in directly to what you just said, right? So that article will have more, I guess, let us more know what's happening with the buybacks, with the circulating supply, the non-circulating supply burns, circulating supplies burns. So you even said that you're kind of almost re-engineering some of the tokenomics, right, to make them more powerful and to kind of meet with where we've now reached on the token burn that was not supposed to be burning this much, probably at this stage. So some of this clarity will be coming out with that article.
Absolutely. Yeah, it will. And look, if buybacks, I think I mentioned this a few days ago in our last AMA, and this really stemmed from, I'm as sick as waiting for clarity on this as everybody else, right? And instead of just sitting back and hoping for the best to come out or taking the chance and then being hit with some sort of SEC lawsuit down the line, we've really just tried to re-engineer things to get it moving now, right? Until we have
building that foundation.
Now, if the final determinant is like, no, we advise you against buybacks in their current capacity, well, then we reallocate that to have the exact same effect, just in a different part of the system. And that's really what we've put together. We have quite a number of options there as to how we could use that to benefit the token. It may even, maybe we use some of that fund for token marketing, right? Anything that can help to push that into other parts of the ecosystem or the wider crypto sphere, I think, is beneficial for all of us. So,
facts.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing this. Basically, I'm dancing around it at the moment. I don't mean to, fam. I don't mean to, I'm trying to get my mouth shut more than anything. But when I have these sign-offs on this last document and I can put it out, then we'll have a great discussion about it all.
Hey,
I'll enjoy watching you tap dance and try to figure out how can I navigate this question without completely revealing something and then having Alex and Dan yell at me later.
Yeah, and having 4,000 people demand the information for the next 3 minutes.
No, we've had a few of these AMAs, and we have AMAs, pretty frequently, especially for an NFT project of this size, much more than most other projects. So it's, I think, helpful though to have someone from the community, whether it's myself or other creators or just on a Twitter Spaces, to have some of these questions and just to get full clarity, because again, it helps us kind of piece together and then relay the information out as well, right? And to get excited, right? So, I appreciate you hopping on while you're in Singapore. I know that we're like 15 hours difference, but we made it happen. And I always appreciate these long chats and just giving more visibility to the fam, right? So thanks so much for hopping on.
Shout out Taps, shout out Rhys.
Right back at you, man. I always appreciate it. Shout out to the fam, everyone who joined us today, and anyone who watches this later. Super exciting times ahead. So,
Oh, you heard it from them. If that doesn't get you bullish, then I don't know what will, right? Big things are happening. We do have a new Medium article just in, so I'm gonna be going over this right now with y'all. Tap dancing. That's a bar. Taps dancing. That's hilarious. Rhys is tap dancing while Taps is dancing. That's great. I'm gonna go over this details of the new drop. We got Sunday drop, Easter, 8 a.m. PT, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Mac on deck. I mean, I like this one. I like a lot of these different looks. We'll get a close-up of each one right now. This is the common. Got the spiked baseball bat. I like the way these look. These all remind me of the Mighty Marvels. It looks like these could be gamified in some kind of game. Could you imagine if that's part of the play to earn? We have the common 7,777 editions. Let's go. We got the uncommon. We got A-Rod. We got Aaron. What's this one's name? So we got Matt. Oh, okay. So this is Matt. I wonder who the names are referenced from. There's 20 things at once, armed with a spiked baseball bat, drinks 20 cups of coffee a day. That's me right there. Oh my gosh, that's great. I like the little. I like this. So this is Matt. I like the little names and everything for him. It gives a little, different flavor to him. I feel like 7,777 editions for Matt. If I get 7,777, I'll name that one Johnny. JD. So now we got A-Ron, we got Aaron, the painter, smoking a little cig. Is that what that is? Interesting. The backbone of the team, armed with a paint roller and a giant wrench, loves frogs. Special powers, reaching things up high. Okay, so this is the backbone of the team here. So we got teams involved. It feels like this is some kind of gamification. They're setting it up for 6,777 editions. They're just under 7K editions for this one. It's the backbone of the whole team, huh? It says he loves frogs. I wonder if an airdrop of a frog is coming. So we got Karina. Shy but deadly. Armed with a machete, spray paint, loves plants and attacking Aaron. Wow. So looks like Karina attacks Aaron a lot. I feel like this is setting itself up in some kind of game. 4,777 editions. Then we got Andy. Shout out to Andy Ellis, content creator for VeVe. I think just in general, NFTs as a whole. Shout out to Andy Ellis out there. This one's called Andy, the manager. So this is the manager of the whole team here. Armed with explosives and always on the phone. His shoes are always very clean. Interesting detail here. Maybe this means we could see an airdrop of new shoes or something like that. Gotta keep a fresh pair of kicks on. Armed with this is some kind of explosives here. I could see these so involved in some kind of game to where like you throw maybe explosives at people. This one looks like maybe spray paint people with machete. These all look gamifiable. 1,777 editions, pretty rare for this ultra rare, pretty limited. I like the way all these look. I'll try to keep at least one of these. If I can get the whole set for cheap, maybe, but I'm going to probably use these as a way to flip. I love the way these look, but I'm just going to try to stack some gems on the collectibles that drop that I don't absolutely love. I still love the artwork on these, so I will try to pick up at least one of them. Artwork on the shirt here, or the dress, is pretty sweet looking. Artworks on all the shirts here, pretty sweet. I like this drop a lot better than maybe initially, might think about this one. I think it's going to grow on a lot of people. But we'll see what happens. Wow, secret rare energy. Let's go. Is that what you're talking about? You got the secret rare? I'm not sure if that's what you meant or not. Secret rare not available. These are based on his real life studio team. Oh, that's awesome, Gino. Makes sense now. Maybe that's why they posted the picture with the team working on it. That's kind of cool that they made it like with his real studio team. I like that idea. So when you get the whole set, you get everybody involved in his whole studio team. Matt is obviously, this is supposed to be Matt Gondek. So I'm guessing Matt drinks a lot of coffee and he likes to smash things. So this one's probably going to be Matt Gondek with his backwards hat. So I think low mint commons will be huge on this one because of that reason. Fans of Matt Gondek will probably want them all. People are telling me to look at the secret rare. Wow, let's go. I didn't see this. Wow. Let's go. Wow, they surprised me. This isn't it, everyone. Good thing. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys. You forgot. Let's go. You guys are on the ball. Wow, this is amazing. Let's go. Secret rare. Hides behind a mask, carries the skull of his enemies as a trophy. That's amazing. As a thank you to collectors, this edition will be gifted to holders of Gondek's Failure Control at the time of snapshot. Friday, April 8th. Let's go. So there's 5,000 people who hold the interesting. Okay, so I guess 5,000 editions will be given out. So that means there's 5,000 holders of the Failure to Control, which is, I don't think there was 5,000 editions of that one. Maybe there are. I'm not sure. But this is awesome. Let's go. Let's go. So this is definitely the one I'm keeping then. This is Melvin. Melvin was a secret rare, huh? This is awesome. Let's go. Who else is grabbing one of these or getting one of these gifted to them? Let's go. Shout out to VeVe, Okomi, Matt Gondek for doing the airdrops. I think stuff like this will be so exciting to see in the future. We've already seen it teased in just a little bit, plenty of, I think it was Ron English was one of the first ones. We've seen them airdrop Ultraman 2D, posters before, secret rares. I love to see this. The secret rares, the airdrop. Yeah, Ed, this is awesome. The set I have from today, JD. Oh, okay, so you got the secret rare? Wow, let's go. I knew we got an ultra rare today too. Man, good stuff. It's all the weapons from the weapons rack. That's a fact. I'm glad you noticed this because I agree. I mean, the spray paint, you have the wrench, you got a bunch of things. So I think there's definitely some kind of surprise for the weapon racks holders. Man, that's awesome. I'm wrapping this live stream up today. This is a long one today. Again, shout out to Taps and shout out to Rhys. If you guys want to ever rewatch that video, I did put the link to the original video in Taps YouTube video in the description of this channel or of this video. So you can always go check out the original one. Miss Rose still has a comic pending. Good luck with that one. Hopefully it's that ultra rare, secret rare, maybe another one. Let's go. Never know. But appreciate you guys big time for tuning in today. A long week of drops. Shout out to everybody who was able to grab some stuff. I think this was a more fun week for drops. Glad to see the fam grab a lot of these, especially the people that have been missing for so long. I know how frustrating that can be. And I'm glad to see the fun vibes come back to VeVe. I think that's what we were all missing. You're the best. I think it meant ultra rare is the best. I'll take it though, saying I'm the best. Appreciate this. But no, I agree. The ultra rare is definitely the best cover. I definitely agree. Have a good day, homie. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you guys. A lot of fun this week. A lot of grinding, but we do have 2 drops this weekend. We have a Saturday. Wait, no, not Saturday drop. I thought we might have had a Saturday drop. No? Is it just Sunday? I'm confused now. Maybe it is just a Sunday drop. But I'm not too sure. But either way, appreciate you guys big time. All the support's been amazing. Catch you guys on the next live video or maybe just video. Maybe I switch it up, get back into the video content. We'll see what happens, but appreciate you guys big time. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm signing out. It's your boy, Johnny Dunn. We out, fam.